am fixing one thing, but I'm actually almost good to go, which is pretty cool. We're gonna go ahead and just rename this to the QCL, and then change it. We're actually in the lobby too, so we are really almost ready to go. Faster, 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 faster. Hup, hup, hup. Grab the thingy. Grab the... What is he even grabbing? There's so many things. This overlay has got to be cleaned up. Okay. There we go. And now we're good to go. Now we're all set. Yeah. It is like 6 in the morning, so probably need to fix my hair and stuff, but whatever. We are... we are good to go. What's up, guys? We are on no delay, as per the, I guess, precedent set. Oh, I need to get rid of this. I suppose it wasn't the worst thing if this stays on. Okay, well, apparently... that doesn't do anything, so let's remove that. I got 2 display captures, so... don't know why. Don't really use it. Hold on. I'm getting close to that ting thing, which is what I'm looking for. Placeholder, ting preseason. Yep, that's what. Okay. No, I don't know what that is either. Actually, this might be part of the browser. Well, damn, I just don't know where that's coming from. Okay, yeah, it is part of the browser overlay. Well, it's gonna stay there then. I mean, we're not casting the ting open right now, but it's a thing that's happening. You can always use that link if you are just like, you know what, today's the day. I'm gonna join ting. So there you go. Okay. Well then, well, all of the overlay stuff has been fixed, I guess. Let me go ahead and retweet this, and I already put in Discord, and otherwise things looking pretty good to go. So let's go ahead and check out what the teams are today by going to the Wikipedia, because I can't follow this, and hopefully Wikipedia is doing a better job. It's the second round is not the right word. It's the second broadcast of this tournament. So last time we did 2 best of 7s between Kimdo, Songho, group assignments, and 94 Fam Titan EX1. And then now I believe we're doing Solendis and Bugs versus Innovation one-man team, because Innovation is currently playing, so that's a good guess on my part. We're ready, we're good to go. I think I can get rid of this overlay completely. No, I can't actually. But this is not... ah, crap. This is kind of weird. This one's just a little more awkward because of that Maturino. I'm gonna see what maybe he had last time he did the league. Didn't I put the sounds on? I did not. Also, how to, you know, portray what the score is, I guess. I mean, I guess it's actually not that difficult, but just keep in mind it's a TeamLeague, and, well, I'll go into more explanations of how the TeamLeague works after I fix everything. Well, people are still trickling in anyway, so it works. In the top right, as the blue Zerg, it is Solar. And in the bottom left is the red Terra, and he is Innovation. As always, let me know how the sound is. Last time I had apparently a serious problem not being loud enough, which is not usually the problem, but I just want to, you know, get some confirmation that that might still be the case, that it's just, you know, it's just right because they didn't change any settings, or if Maybe I need to change some in-game settings. But we do have a Turak, so these guys are not giving me an easy time to figure everything out. Just crop the left side of the browser. Oh, okay, then just get rid of everything. Cool. Yeah, that was my initial plan. Let me just unlock preview here. Whoop-a-daisy. You need to specify what you mean by the volume. You can be talking about the in-game music, you can be talking about my mic, you can be talking about lots of things. My voice isn't loud enough. Are you sure? Because I'm gonna go ahead and double check that because it seems like it's loud enough, but we'll get some other confirmations. The 2-rax is ready to go. Now, it is a 2-rax, not a 4-rax, but it was not seen until just now from Solar, who did go for a regular hatch gas pool. So this is a little bit awkward because it's also really, really close. Solar would maybe against another Terran, maybe if it was Maru, for instance, playing, he would have sent the second Overlord to actually scout, but he actually just sent it here so that he has at least some knowledge, because if he sent it the wrong place, maybe sent it to the left instead of the right, it would have been awkward. A lot of the people say voice is fine, so I'm gonna go with the other people. Sorry, Princess Cheetah. In-game sounds are fine, but the in-game music is a smidge high. Thank you. That I will fix in just a moment, but we do have something kind of important going on. And that maybe... That is probably going to be a dead hatchery. Now, there's a follow-up here that Innovation's preparing for. You know, and as he realizes it's roaches, well then... we really need to prepare for it. But it is roaches, which is always a questionable way to respond. Yeah, so that hatchery goes down. Ravagers are about to break the bunker, but here's where I'm going to go ahead and... The in-game sounds are fine, but the in-game music is high. Okay. So... I did what was said by Rifkin. Hopefully that's fine. Okay. The barracks is gonna scout what it already knew. It already saw the roaches and ravagers, but just to get confirmation, maybe they're gonna be in a lair, for instance. You know, that could be bad. And just to confirm that the game sounds are a-okay compared to my voice. Okay. So Queen's gonna get targeted down. Looks like it might have been on purpose. Stop the transfusing down on the Ravagers, because then he snipes at least one Ravager, but the damage was kind of all over the place. We got low Ravagers being targeted down at the very last second. Last STV goes down as well. I mean, overall, it's an effective T-Rax. It got the hatchery, it got the scout before, you know, the one barracks died, and then since it was a T-Rax and a 4-rax, it didn't have to win the game. If it was a 4-rax, this actually is enough, but it also would not have looked like that. So we have a Banshee on the way, which was kind of risky by Innovation. Obviously, like his factory was a bit delayed. That's just what happens when you proxy. So there's already late tech, and the factory really can be a very useful thing against Roach Ravager. So then to push unit producing off even more to a starport when you know Roach and the Ravagers could make their way across the map, I mean, that was like a little risky. But then again, Solar would have been at the front of the door by now, just as the Banshee was popping. So, I mean, I think it was a good guess on Innovation's part. He's T-Rax enough times to know, like, how long it'll take slow Roaches and Ravagers to get across the map, and considering how many bunkers he was able to get up, you know, how big of a break it was going to be. It was a good call. So now Innovation just gets away with this T-Rax, pretty much. I mean, he's in the lead. He's got the SCV lead. He's going to have the Natural Command Center on location pretty much no problem. I mean, obviously, he could have been a little bit greedier about it. He's got a third CC on the way. And perhaps most importantly, he has all of his defenses set up. So he's getting a tank. He's getting a second Banshee. And he's going to be going on to his way to Stim because he was able to save at least one of the barracks. So things are looking quite good for our Terran. And Solar's trying to catch up he's just to set back a pace. I mean, I like his double expand. He needs that for Larva as well as just in general. Need to be on 3 bases by now, and he's gonna try and get into speed. So we'll see if he really sticks on roaches or that speed really is signaling a transition into Ling Bane, Ling Muta. This Terran strategy is unbeatable, as they spell Terran terrain. I don't know, mate. Alright, double engineering base stim, double banshees making their way into the main base, something that Solar is somewhat prepared for, but when you got double banshee, you're always going to be losing some drones on the edges. It's just going to be inevitable. Maybe even you can actually use a spawning pool of the Roachborn. But Aspire is Solar's choice. Now, Cerulean Falls, for whatever reason, seems to be a decent Spire map. I mean, amongst the maps we get to see Spire. It's not on a lot of them. It's not a lot of situations. But apparently Cerulean Falls is one of them, along with Parasite. This is where I see it most often. I mean, there's surprisingly a lot of dead space. I've talked about this before, but you think it'd be like something like this is the entire screen. It's actually like way over here is the entire screen, which can be a blessing and a curse for multiple things. But we do have a push, which simply was not expecting because there's no medevacs. Generally, you wait for medevacs, wait for stim. Otherwise, you're at risk of them just making like 30 lings and overwhelming you. But Solar was also severely underprepared, and these Banshees are certainly adding a lot of damage. Now, they are being targeted down by the Queens before they went down. But that's, okay, the last one goes down, tanks will be cleaned up, and that's why you don't usually see such a feeble push. And then the attempts to rally across the map, well, that was just, well, that was bold. That was even bolder than the actual push. Losing a tank is pretty expensive. That was not a good trade towards the end there. And Solar, I mean, because of that, I feel like he's found some momentum. I mean, I don't want to say he's back in this game necessarily because he's still missing a lot of crucial elements. I mean, he doesn't even have a Baneling Nest, right? He doesn't have any upgrades. But he does now have a good, I want to say, 1 to 2 minutes, maybe more, depending on how good these mutas do, to actually, like, spread creep, rebuild his queen count, get a 4th base up. But he has to do so much. As I said, upgrades, queen count, 4th base, and then his army might look okay now. It's quickly going to change back in Innovation's favor. So the mutas, they do have just the job of buying time, but 7, you're not really going to expect much more from them, especially because the missile turrets are already out. Okay, I think he just A-clicked on his own spotty bow. Okay, Solar was going to go into +1 missile and then decided to go into melee. I think the logic behind this... Okay, no, he goes back in the missile. Well, Solar making this hard to cast. I'm not... I don't know. I don't know what I want... I don't know what I personally want him to do, but... I was thinking maybe the idea of the melee was that he would majority go Ling Baneling, and then what you do is just get, like, 10 Ravagers. That can be a very strong composition where you ideally save the Ravagers every time, but you're not really investing into Roaches. You're investing all your gas into the Banelings. But he still doesn't have a Baneling Nest, so I guess it makes sense that he goes back in a +1 missile, but that's why it's a little bit behind +1 Carapace. That was kind of weird. But anyways, like, Solar still has so much catching up to do. These mutas have not really bought a ton of time. Innovation is fine with the amount of damage they've done, I believe. It doesn't seem like he was wanting to push out soon anyways. But he is appropriately reacting. He's getting a lot of Marauders, and I think it's kind of fortunate because there was a chance that Solar was going to transition, and in which case 2 Marauders at a time maybe wouldn't be as ideal. But he's also, like, getting Widow Mines instead of tanks, which, you know, again, if you're facing Roaches, usually isn't ideal. So we got like a mixed bag from Innovation, the same way that we almost had a mixed bag from Solar, who is finally getting a Baneling Nest. So it might be going back to that logic I was talking about before with the Ravagers, but he still has +1 missile, so I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work, but he's gotta get something going here. And while we don't have tanks to abuse this position, it's still nice for the bio. Maybe just place down some Widow Mines over here. The muta's gonna try and just cut off any reinforcements. That doesn't seem like it's really gonna work out. Widow Mines actually get some connections on the Roaches, but not ideal. Not as ideal as a couple of tanks firing away on top. But that's where the mutas would have come in anyways. Widow Mine does pop off on them, and the muta count goes drastically down But Innovation has some really heavy pressure here. Up 30 army supply with much faster 2-2 upgrades on the way. His army is just superior to what Solar is got here. He's got no baneling speed. He's going to be going off of creep, and even on creep, he can't connect to the army. It's just way too big. And that, I mean, I think this is going to be it. This seems like an easy peasy push. Wouldn't mind take out whatever lings were available to Solar. Solar was always behind in this game, and even the Manda Mule's coming down. Innovation showing some personality here. People doubt him, especially since Solar, if we really got to talk about this game, these players much at all, if it didn't start with the Tirax, Solar is the one with the much more established recent results, getting to the round of 4 in the GSL Super Tournament. Innovation didn't even qualify for it. He got knocked out by, I mean, I guess someone who's doing pretty well recently, I think, but still. People doubt Innovation, and then he changes up his style, builds new builds, takes a chill pill. Okay, interesting. Okay, that's... okay. Okay. Alright, so now is a perfect time to explain the tournament, as some people might know the idea. I mean, just generally, right? You know what a team league is, usually. But because of the, I guess, constraints of this... of just in general team leagues nowadays have to have some constraints, because we're not going to have 12 teams full of 7 people. That's just not going to happen in any region. And then maybe you can, if you get some, like, you know, lower GMs or even Masters players, you're going to have people just not show up. So it's not really realistic. So what we have is, you know, each team has 3 players. It's a best of 7. So you have a 2v2 that is played for game number 4? Yes, game number 4. And then after that 2v2 is played, we don't continue going into like a Pro League 1-to-1 format where, like, you know, Innovation just won, but he's not going to continue playing. It's going to be Stats versus Zest. But after that team league, the team match 2v2, we will be going back into, well, what you would expect, I guess, as I don't know, it used to be called Pro League format versus like GSTL format, but yeah, now it's just King of the Hill is what we call it, I guess, now. So first it's Pro League, you know, 2 players, and then a new set of 2 players, another new set of 2 players, then a 2v2, and then King of the Hill, so whoever wins stays in. I won't try and explain the revive rule because we're still unsure. I feel like we actually know what's going on, but I'm going to say whoever wins the 2v2 gets to choose anyone as their revive, but yeah. The one thing we do know is that whatever the revive rule, the people who are eligible to play in the King of the Hill style, game number 5, 6, 7, are the ones who won their match in the Pro League style first 3 series. And then whoever wins the 2v2, we think, gets the extra revive. So even if their player lost in the 1v1, they can revive them. But anyways, cross that bridge when we get to it. I think really what's so nice about this team league, I suppose, is that there's actually just really like a lot of amazing players. And if you just like didn't even pay attention to the score of the overall team league, you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. This is a cool match. Like right now, Stats versus Zest. That's just a cool match. are finally ready to go after some confusion with some lobby guests. And as I said, Stats versus Zest going to be coming out in Fracture. We do know the first 4 matches, so if you're like, you know, when's Parting playing? Well, if you haven't already figured it out, the next match after this would be, well, actually, sorry, that would be the next series. The next match after this is Sue versus Dark. Damn, that's a lot of good players. But then we have a second Team League happening after this, so if your question is when is Parting playing, the answer is, I guess, much later. Anywho, I have to figure out who's on which team, but first let's do the introductions. In the bottom right is the red Protoss. It is Spliced Stats. In the top left, as the pink Protoss, he is Zest. On Scythe Esports, just on their clan, I guess. Okay, that's what I thought. So, Zest is on Innovation's team. Innovation just won, so the Innovation one-man team, or whatever his team name is yeah, actually, that was the exact name of his team, is in the lead. And then Stats, his partners were, we just saw, it was Solar and then Dark. So, now I guess as far as we know, as far as we understand it, if it's a 3-0 in the favor of Innovation's one-man team, and then they win the 2v2 as well, that is just the end of the series. I mean, I think it's first to 4. I don't think there's any changes to that. It's just the revive rule that's a little confusing. But we haven't had that happen yet. Even with the team lead, the last week or week and a half ago, whatever, we thought that might happen. It didn't happen. They were able to bring it back, and it ended up being kind of an interesting series. But yeah, that could one day happen. But between these two teams, I mean, both of them seriously have Titans. And then the weird thing is that you would say that the team currently losing is the one that has the more current, and I mean that like in a very literal sense. Like Zest, Innovation, and Sue are all damn good players, but Stats, Solar, and Dark are all recently more accomplished players. I'm talking about the Super Tournament for that one. The Innovation's team is up 1, so we'll see how Zest does. Now Zest is pretty much a master of PvP. So, I mean, I actually think he's going to win this, which would leave them 2-0. And then Sue versus Dark is a ZVZ that I can't quite call, and I actually think Dark would win that one. So this should be a bit of a back and forth, but I'm just saying. People who are like, well, the Super Tournament, it was like this. And I'm going to be like, well, Team League, it's like this. Suck on it. But anyways, Stargate is opening up for Stats. Zest goes for his Twilight Council, which seems rather appropriate for these two players' playstyle. PvP is an entirely different beast, so I'm saying this somewhat jokingly, but I mean, when I think of these players, Stats is a very typical Protoss, although his PvP can get wonky. So like Stargate's like, oh, okay. And then Zest is a Twilight Protoss, which is not atypical, but you know, for PvT, for instance, it's not nearly as much of a norm as Stargate. Both players were scouting around quite a bit with their probes, but Zest's probe was not found out, and I do think his might be for proxy pylon, but I don't know. It's you know, they're both expanding, so even if you put in a proxy pylon, it would be for later. But with Blink on the way, it still would make sense. He doesn't want to invest in that Robo and also get a Warp Prism. That would make it, you know, I think really committed. And while he eventually gets a Robo, doesn't have to right now. What he does have to get, though, is a shield battery. There's an Oracle on the way. The Phoenix scouts, well, just the other Phoenix. That doesn't tell him very much. The Stalker is actually going fine to Lucid Phoenix, and woof, barely get it. And I think that Oracle, the Pylon will certainly see the Oracle. And that might be better for Zest, but it's also very important for Stats to see, oh, okay, there's a proxy Pylon. I mean, sometimes some Protoss put that down just willy-nilly. They don't really mean to use it. And that could still be Zest just being like, oh, I wasn't gonna use that anyway, so don't even worry about it. But could have been problems with the Stargate opener. Maybe invest into a second Oracle to try and get the kills on the probes, right? Suddenly your Robo's a little bit later, and Stalkers come forward with Blink. That could have been this game. Instead, he goes to the Robo immediately. The Oracle's just used for scouting, and the Stalkers just go and find the Pylon. Adepts are going to be able to shade past. Maybe they would have gone for the Sentry, but they're going to try and actually shade into the mineral line. Oracle's going to find them, so it doesn't work out quite as well as Zest was hoping for. Oracle is particularly good at dealing with this type of situation. Yeah, easy peasy. But Zest, I mean, his Blink opener might not have gone exactly what he was hoping for. I don't think this is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is probably more like he was committing and then all of his stalkers got canceled because the pylon died. But it's also, I would say, not ideal. I mean, Stats is getting more of what we would expect in a mid-game PvP, right? He's getting like a bit faster of a forge, but more importantly, he's already starting to go to mortal counts. Blink can be seen as, you know, maybe as time goes on, less of a good upgrades. Right now, and in the mid-game, it can be okay. Don't underestimate Stalker's DPS, but if you think about mid-game and late-game PvP, it's not Blink Stalkers, it's Archon Immortal. Ooh, this is kind of a nice shade. If it got both sentries, it would be. And in fact, the Oracle could have gotten all of the sentries, but instead targeted the probes. I think it would have got the sentries, and that probably would have been a better use of the Oracle because it died. But I'm not sure Stats was thinking it would die. So that was the problem there. But now that it's dead, I mean, Zest had to spend no money on shield batteries because he just managed to cover it with his stalkers. He's getting a faster third base, and he is applying pressure. His immortal count will always be down compared to Stats, but certainly seen games where, you know, the faster 5th and 6th gases means a couple more Archons ends up being more important than what could be even 3 or 4 Immortals. They do pack a punch. Thank you very much to VIPNet, VIPNet, for the 3 months. This blink into the main was a bit bold, but it goes after, yeah, you guessed it, the Sentry. It's almost always a target in these early game skirmishes. Charge is much faster for the person who gets Twilight Council first. That makes a lot of sense. And the Phoenix does scout the timing of the third Nexus, so this is no longer about, you know, Stats making sure that sentries don't go down and probes don't go down. It's also about making sure that he can even push out and get his third base, as those extra gases are going to be really important. Just in general, they're going to start wanting to build up to a higher probe count if they can. And you need a third base to actually saturate. You got a lot of gateways coming down for both players. Team's about right, though. Even though Stats is getting a lot of gateways, I'm not sure he's actually going to go for a 2-base all-in. I mean, his charge would not be anywhere close even if you put Chrono into it, so this is just typical, I need all this production. It seems like he's dealt with a Stalker attack. Zest will have these units to run around with, but also to add the, you know, some nice focus fire in later engagements, but we are on to, okay, time for charge lots, Archons, and then usually what is a +2 timing for someone against the other person, but that's just kind of how PvP goes. It's Fracture, which is a very small map, but you can see that, like, PvP is going to be a very different beast than the other matchups with its Warp Gate. It's not really taking advantage of the smaller map size, although I kind of think that Zest was maybe thinking that would work for him in the very early game. It didn't, so yeah, just about Warp Gates. There's the Warp Prism. Who decides to be the one to pressure? I mean, Stat's going to have the faster +2, but not by very much. It looks like Phoenix sees everything. It was a nice scout. Warp Prism, +2 chronoing, amount of gateways. I think it's all normal, but that Warp Prism could be what Zest is like, okay, are you going to be the one to push into me? In which case, Fracture might be a short map, but again, it's more about Warp Gates anyways, but let's just say it's a short map. It does have some defenders' advantages. You know, they had to put something in here that doesn't make it just a stupid, small map, and that's these tiny ramps, these tiny chokes, that if you have some presence, you have some knowledge of where their army is, you can almost always get this superior concave high ground position. So if Stats were to be the one to first push out, he'd have the immortal count, he'd have the +2 for like 10 seconds, but that positioning would be really tough to break. Thank you, 47is, for the 300 bits. I gotta go. Chucking some bucks. Thank you. Now the +2, okay, it was literally 10 seconds. There's no way It's very rare you're gonna hit that timing. But Stats is the first one to push out. Now, Zest, you know, look at his army. As I was saying, like, he doesn't have any of those immortals, and he's actually down by 4, so, like, good guess, right? But he probably should have something more. And what he has is a lot more zealots. Now, that's gonna work against him if he has to go down the choke, so he can't, even if he thought his army was superior, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't assume that, he doesn't really want to go down the ramp, and Stats doesn't want to go up the ramp. So they're at an impasse. Stats just backs off, and this is one of those potentially rare situations where the PvP does go extremely long. We might even see attempted transition to carriers. But whereas Fracture has these very defensive 3-base setup to kind of compensate for the short rush distance, the 4th base doesn't get the same treatment. I mean, it's still a bit of a choke, as you see up here, and your army is going to be kind of close, but this is when a Warp Prism starts to tear you apart. This is where just casual Adept run-bys come in, and regardless what 4th base you take, and it's usually this one, but either one is going to leave some positioning open, like this high ground here, or again, not as much to a choke there. Yeah, but we'll see who's the faster to it. Who's going to start using some Warp Prism, and I mean, if you're going to guess one person of these two to go ahead and try and transition and get to that late game, you would guess Stats. +3 is much faster for Stats this time. I think it's more like 15 or 20 seconds faster. But Zest is moving out here, and this is where things could get really wonky. Not just moving out to pressure and, maybe, kind of cover taking his 4th base, but his Stats saw it, and he takes the opportunity to be like, okay, well, now we're on more of an even footing. Like, let's run into each other. This is all going to be about who has the better concave. In this case, we also do have that +3 weapons upgrade for Stats, and it's actually going to be an anti-timing for Zest. Zest, don't do it! Okay, he should be clicking on the units and realizing that he still has to wait for his +3, but there's 2 8s run away, actually, and what is he doing? He was on move command for so long trying to get a better concave that he took a lot of extra damage, and his +3 still isn't done. This was a pretty bad timing for our pink Protoss, and God forbid pink versus red, why do they let this happen? But he, almost wins it, despite that. If there weren't for oh God, 5 extra Immortals, he might have won that, but the Immortals absolutely wreck the remaining Stalkers. They end up looking very useless towards the end. And the rest of the army, 5 Immortals pack too much of a punch, but that's their weaknesses against Zealots, so that's what Zest is desperate to try and hold on to. Stats now is forced to reinforce, but across a smaller map, and ended up being quite perfect for him, and Stats does take game number 2. So I guess Zest was going to do it. I was wrong. That's, that's life, but I would say it's a lot because Zest went for a total anti-timing, and whether he realized it or not, and that's why he did that weird, well, maybe I can get a better position, and then he took some extra damage. The point is, that was, the worst time to put yourself out on the map. Thank you, Mech Xavier, for the 9-month resub. Alrighty, so the next match is going to be Su versus Dark, ZVZ, that I think is going to be really good. Korean ZVZ in particular, I'm quite fond of. I mean, Europe ZVZ is getting more interesting with people doing more +1s and Ling-based play again. But ZVZ in Korea is almost always high octane, just pure fuel, pure let's all in each other and then barely scrape by and then have this really interesting macro game, or just end it before 5 minutes. Ooh, boy. For those interested in the 2v2, it is going to be Innovation Zest versus Stats Dark, and Dark's going to play random for that 2v2. So that's pretty damn cool. Do have a lot of casters, so that's usually what's taking up the time. Bam, 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 bam. What's up with you guys? How you doing? How's life? I expect the sounds to now be perfect, so kind of last call for anyone to be hey, the game sounds were a little bit loud or whatever. Otherwise, I'll stop paying attention to anything anyone says. I'm not sure what we're waiting on now. Chat is sub-only mode. Yes. Good thing you're a sub. It's a campaign. The game sounds are 0.05 too quiet. Get out of here. Ooh, Maynard's gonna join us. Yay, Maynard. I don't understand this Yemen meme. I can't go to Yemen, I'm just an analyst. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if it's like a Friends joke, because Yemen is usually used in the context of a Friends joke, but I don't know. Thank you, Maynard, for the 26-month resub. Zombie grab. Thank you. Alright, there's the countdown. I don't know what we were waiting for. Actually, Craig could have been doing commercials. Maybe I should have done one. I don't know. We are now into game number 3. Finally, it's all tied up in this Team League 1-1, and oh my god, what did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys about Korean ZVZ? It's so fun. They're both gonna 12 pool. It's fantastic. In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, it is Sue. In the top right, as the red Zerg, he is Dark. For some reason, I always attribute Sue to red, so it's gonna be confusing for me. Anyways, Sue being on Innovation's one-man team and Dark being on the other team. Selendis and Bugs, so it's one Protoss player and 2 Zerg is why I guess they called themselves that. Anyways, yeah, so 2 12 pools. So what happens here is it's the same exact type of pool. It's you know, no gas versus no gas, no, I don't know, weird 14 pool, 14 hatch thing going, like it's the same exact thing, and they're probably going to make the same exact number of lings, the same exact overlord timing, and what usually happens is they both see each other's lings in the middle of the map, and then they just kind of do this weird, like, well, are you going to attack me? No, okay, I guess not, and then they just, like, sometimes just go home. Unless they really get the surprise, like the one player was, oh my god. Yeah, well, that's, I don't know what happens with this one if they pull the drones, so. They both pull the drones. I don't know what happens here now. Because you don't, so, I was gonna say, like, the weird thing that can happen is, like, maybe one person isn't paying attention because they assume that their attack is the only attack that's happening, and they get surrounded for, like, 0.5 seconds. So then they're like, oh shit, I really have to retreat, and the game gets a little more interesting. But in this case, I think you legitimately have to, well, they're just gonna avoid each other because it's lost and found. Okay, so now they're both gonna see, actually, Sue didn't, actually, Dark didn't see what was happening until later. But it doesn't matter because it's all about mental preparation anyways. Like, even though someone saw it a little bit later, the whole point is mental preparation. Dark has one more drone. And, well, that's about it. And he's about to have 2 more sets of lings. Oh my god, do they both have the, no, they both don't have the skin. I don't know, you just kill each other's bases, don't you? Wait, no, it's like whoever kills the base first. Wait, no! It's whoever kills every last building first, isn't it? Although I guess they have money to build extractors, so... well, they definitely have to avoid the broodling, so I guess I get that much. And we do have people building extractors now, although Sue is not building an extractor. Sue, you want to build an extractor just in case? I mean, spawning pool eventually dies. You're gonna run out of creep spread. I don't know if we're gonna get that long, but that can't be something that can happen. I don't know what's gonna happen, guys. I don't know. Oh god, we're gonna have a fight. That's definitely not something that's Dark or Sue is gonna want to take. They flipped positions, and now it's extra confusing. Sue is coming from the top right, and Dark's coming from the bottom left. But Dark has more lings, not many more lings, but he had more lings and a better concave. So now Sue goes back to kill the spawning pool, I guess. I don't know. He has less minerals to build extractors. He needs to build an extractor. Dark is gonna kill a spawning pool. They both know what their last building is. What is even gonna happen? These lings are doing something. I guess trying to find, like, drones are left behind or lings are left behind. I guess I kind of like that, but now they're gonna be corralled, and it's gonna be 4 less lings overall, where it could be the final battle. But I have no idea how this is going to go down. The spawning pool of Dark, by the way, is dead. It's definitely dead. I mean, it's going to die anyways. Both of them are going to die anyways. Sue has built 2 extractors at this point. They're both already finished. Dark is only at 1, but he can easily build like 6 more. Can I do math correctly? 4, 5, 6. Well, yeah, I think like something around there, right? I don't want to do math this earlier on stream. But the point is, he can build a lot more. I mean, they both have drones. I don't know if they're asking for a draw because you don't actually get a draw unless you're Terran in this situation. Like, one person could I don't know. It's more like a if I move out I lose kind of draw. So no one wants to move out, which in that case it makes a lot of sense, but there is a win condition. Like there's no floating buildings you can't touch. There's attempts at you know, splitting up your army, which works out better for Dark as he does a lot of damage to the drones. Thank you, Vendethiel, for the 19-month resub. Dark, please, not yet another round of 4. Yeah, rip. It's the Tom Clancy commercial, is the Yemen thing? Oh, I don't watch ads, so I have no idea. He's saying, come like a man. Oh, it's funny. What goes on right now? The amount of times you see the drone pool against each other is well, I think this might be the first time. Including any of the drone pools that would exist, you know, back in the other drone counts. This is still the first time I've seen it. Usually they've fought each other by now, I guess, is the unusual thing. Sue, like, absolutely does not win this fight at this point. Like, before when he was only down 2 lings, it was kind of still a question mark who gets the better concave. But now he's down 3 drones and 2 sets of lings, so it's, like, really, really bad. And there should be no world where he forces Sue to make more extractors so that he's suddenly down in drones. Like, Sue would have to force him to make 3 more extractors, and it's still not even. So he'd have to force him to make 5 extractors, which Dark, I mean, he's building 2, as he realizes that he's gonna go for it. But then Sue just loses now, because he can't escape. I mean, yeah, he just loses now. 100%. In fact, like, yeah, Dark, yeah, okay. Dark wins this one. It was not as close of a fight as I thought it was gonna be, and Sue's not willing to give up, man, but Dark wins 100% at this point. Unless he really messes up. But he has so much more army to split that these little tag units are never gonna actually tag anything. Yeah, this looks like a game. Dark wins. That did not look like a game from 2 professionals. The best Zergs in the Korean scene. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, so now we head into the 2v2, which is, as I said previously, it's going to be Innovation, Zest versus Stats and Dark. But Dark is playing random, so not guaranteed Zerg there. There's not much analysis you can really do about that last game, is there? Whoop. Someone asking for Maynard. Maynard's not gonna be ready for a little while yet. It's all good. I'm fine. Solo casting. For now. Hey, Apollo, what do you think about that game? You think it was worth a good bath? You need to bathe yourself of the Zerg. The Zerg cheese just got all over you. Yeah, I agree. Random is allowed. There's actually usually no rules against random. There's rules against changing your race between every match, every game, but random's usually allowed. I know, kitten. It was just so weird. He wants the love. It's so cute sometimes. I never had a cat that was so lovey. You know, like, besides him actually, like, trying to snuggle up against me when I'm asleep, he also does that thing where you go to pet him no matter what he's doing, and he'll usually just be like, and, like, drop into your hand. So cute. Looks like Innovation might need a moment. Or Stats needed a moment, and then Innovation made fun of him. I think is actually what happened. So you can play random in pro tournaments, GSL, and so forth. Yeah. Of that, I am 99% sure. You just can't race choose. So you can't be like, one series I play Zerg, or one game I play Zerg, and then play Protoss. So no one really wants to play random GSL. Last player to do so, I think, was Gumiho. And I'm not even meaning like getting far into GSL. I mean just like the last player to actually qualify. And that would have been in like 2010. These guys talk a lot and they say funny stuff. But my Korean's not good enough to actually read it fast or know any of the slang that they're using either, which is one of the big problems. Dance for the camera, kitten. Dance. Do you know any other languages? I don't know languages. I study them, so I know some of it. But I've studied Korean and French, basically. I can read a lot of French, but again, the slang is something I'm not used to. And I can read a lot of Korean, it just doesn't mean that I understand what I'm reading. And if, you know, the French would just say the words like they spell them, I could probably even hear a lot of French, but whatever. Okay, so this is a little bit awkward. The WCS overlays may be better for 2v2s, but I don't know, this is fine enough, I guess. Except that they're... Oh, no. That's really annoying. So you can't swap the positions, which is annoying, and since they're still top and bottom, it's really annoying. But anyways, you'll have to figure it out, guys. In the bottom right, up 2 in the overall team league, it is a combination of Dark as random, he got Terran, and Stats as his regular Protoss. In the top left, it is Innovation as the Terran, and Zest as the Protoss. Alright, so we have a mirror matchup, TP versus TP, which I think is favorable to Dark going for his regular Zerg. In my opinion, anyways. Like, it's not really concrete. There are some imbalances in 2v2, I guess. There are stronger builds than others, and stronger abuses to be had if you're really quite smart about it. But first of all, these pros are not going to be like 2v2 masters. They have some idea of what's good. Like we see the Protoss almost always go into Stargate, which is probably what they should be doing in 2v2. I mean, it's good in 1v1 as well, but the point is, like, Phoenix are really good in team games. And then, you know, I'm sure if we had like a Terran and a Zerg, we'd also see the Hellion Ling attack. But beyond that, not so much. We don't see, like, you know, money trading going on after, I think the unlock period is like 4 minutes, something like that. Or necessarily the most cohesion, but we did see in the last 2v2 we cast, so like the second Team League of the last broadcast for this Team League, we saw the 2v2 go in favor of the people who were actually behind, but then just had better cohesiveness. They were always together when they attacked. They always made smarter decisions. They weren't yelling at each other potentially type thing. And we saw another team match, 2v2, where the teams were obviously fighting with each other. I managed to catch a very funny moment where I think Impact's teammate was yelling at him to go Hive, because he said Hive in Korean, and then he pinged on the layer of Impact. So that still does end up mattering quite a bit, even though when you look at this, you might be thinking like, well, individual skill levels combined must be pretty good. And it's like, that's a lot of it, but it's not all of it. So anyway, it's not like I got that spiel out of the way. We do have both players, just the Team of Nation and Zest expanding. Dark and Stats are going to go for a bit more of a dedicated push here. We got double Cyclones from Dark, and then double Gateway from Stats, which, I mean, sounds like a very potent combination, but I would say that the Stargate, there it is the better part of this. Because right now, both sides, being Terran Terran Protoss, are going to be on, like, few but important units. So a single lift could be very crucial. Now, the Lucent Phoenix is going to see the push incoming, which is quite important. See that's a real Phoenix, and I feel like Innovation Zest just have to temporarily give up their naturals, which is, they agree with me, so they're going to go ahead and lift. Send everything back home. Well, they don't lift, but Innovation could. Now, all they really need, I feel, is like 30 seconds to a minute, and then they would be good to go, but I feel like a bunker would also have been a really good choice here. Innovation working on, you know, increasing the amount of units he has, but they're not going to have any upgrades, and, you know, that's a problem. But, SCs are pulled from Dark, very quite committed to this, whereas Stats is trying to expand. Apparently, the Phoenix count is quite close. This is not the smallest map of a 2v2. It really definitely isn't. So that is contributing to how this push goes down. Finally, the lift off of the command center, but the Nexus cannot do such a similar thing there. So it's going to go down really quickly to the Cyclones. We have two more, I think, misrallied a little bit. There we go. But Innovation, waiting for that stim, waiting for more units. He would be able to just rip through everything here, I think. Even the Cyclones, if he had stim. Medivacs pop out at the right time, and that is definitely helpful, but I'm thinking he wanted stim more. But going up a ramp, the Phoenix count actually working in favor of Zest. It looks like, yeah, the defending team is going to hold, so I imagine Innovation is going nana boo-boo. We held. Fuck you guys. All in, you know, 2 letters. And now Stim is done, so we'll just, like, yeah, as I said, once it gets to a certain number of bio units, especially if they get Stim, Cyclones do not hold up. So this really turned around on Dark, who probably doesn't play Terran that much. I don't know what his off-race preference is, but I don't know if it's Terran. But the point is, like, that would have been a fantastic push, Reactored Cyclone 2v2, if it was a closer, smaller map. And then if Stats could also have contributed more to the fight. Unfortunately, his Phoenix just... They couldn't, you know? If Zest was silly enough to not go into Phoenix himself, and he was just defending with Stalkers, it could have been a different result. So Zest loses his Nexus, but Innovation has his. Now, Stats expanded where Dark didn't, so we kind of have this weird, like, you know, reverse of who gets the expansion. But the point is, like, one person got expansion on both teams, so the game does continue on. But Dark didn't just give up his expansion like Zest did. He also gave up a good number of SCVs, so you can see his supply count just is really down in the dumps, with Zest just, you know, right ahead of him. 2v2 PogChamp. Yeah, it's a fun little way to mix things up. So the Phoenix count continuing to grow substantially for both players is being now caught up with by Zest. Stats, damn it. As he also was added on that second Stargate. They're also going to have a fleet beacon for Stats, so I think he's probably just assuming he's going to lose out on the Phoenix War if things go as continued. You know, he's going to have one less Phoenix at least every time. Which isn't quite true because Zest the one that lost his Nexus, but it ends up holding true. Yeah, just behind by 1 is a big enough difference. So he's gonna try and beat Zest to the punch when it comes to the Phoenix range upgrade. And then on top of that, to make sure he doesn't get in range of the Marines, that is certainly important. Currently, Innovation is able to help out his partner, whereas Dark is not really able to. And in fact, by going for what is usually a very smart defensive thing... Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, jeez. Well, that could be game. Believe it or not. That is such a substantial win for Zest. Oh, Stats just found out in the middle of, well, I guess guarding his proxy pylon, and that was a disaster. And going back to what I was trying to explain is that Dark's defensive tanks are usually a very smart thing to do. That's arguably the one very good thing about having Terran as a partner when they're behind, is that at least, if they can just put everything into tanks, they're probably still helpful. In this game, that's not really true. With Phoenix being available and now dominating for the opposing Protoss, these tanks are going to get lifted easy peasy. And I feel like Innovation, if he just told Zest, hey, just pick up these tanks, would actually win the game. But they're not pushing out. A scan does reveal what's defending right now. But let's not forget, it's not just about these tanks. We also have a potential... drop that could do a lot of damage, because Zest can now protect Innovation's drop. They're you can see, like, they're well aware that they would get dropped easily, so they're trying to put units, but that would not be enough. But if Innovation and Zest don't push, then that's a chance that Dark and Stats get back into this game. But that supply difference, the Innovation is just skyrocketing here. And while Stats did have a temporary boost to his... Well, actually... Is that still not going for... I thought that was his extra Stargate with a Fleet Beacon. But nope, finally his Fleet Beacon comes down. So, alright. Stats does have a considerable lead in that +1 range on his Phoenix. Which seems like a bit of an oversight from Zest. But, yeah, in the same vein that, like, maybe Innovation and Zest could give them enough time to come back. Stats Dark they have no choice but to give time for Zest to get that +1 range. I think tanks shouldn't be liftable when sieged. You're maybe not a Protoss. I thought you were a Protoss player. Anyways, well, it makes sense logically that you wouldn't be able to lift like a rooted tank. I think as far as balance goes, that'd be a disaster. A lot of the more interesting holds from Protoss have been based off their Phoenix lifts, so not only is it a balance thing, it's also like I think Phoenix are actually a really well-designed unit. I quite like them and the way they work right now. Phoenix range is not done, and they're about to have a fight, but Innovation takes the... Oh god, he's gonna murder Dark. Such a better fight. Mules are called down. Innovation really is a one-man team, man. He's the only guy that's getting the win on the board, and he's definitely the guy getting most of the win in this game. That is gonna be it. GG. Range finally finished for Zest, by the way, so I think while he's temporarily losing the Phoenix War, it doesn't matter now. GG. I don't want to blame Dark not playing Terran as his main race, because all these guys are rather good with all the off races. It's just that he just didn't realize the army was there, I think. Not that he had much of a chance even when he was sieged. Innovation. Proving why he's one-man team. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. As we get into the game number 5. It's all tied up in this series, so we're going into King of the Hill style now. Be back soon. Alrighty. So, even with that, we're still not quite ready to go. We're still waiting for the other team's player. Now we're getting into the, you have to choose who your player is. Now, again, as far as I understand the rules, the eligible players for Innovation's team is Innovation, and now one more because they won the 2v2. So I don't know if they chose Zest or Sue. I think they chose Sue. He's in the lobby right now. And then the eligible players for the other team is Stats and Dark because they won their matches. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I think when Crank told us no, he didn't understand our question. Because in my mind, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I can get that. Anything else, I don't really get. The players might have some confusion as well because we're having a lot of typing and waiting to invite people. But yeah, Stats is in the game, and okay, so they didn't use the revive yet, is what I'm seeing, because Innovation has now been swapped for Sue. Does this event have a Wikipedia page? Yes, it does. Thank you, Melty. By the way, there is a match after this one, so not that it would end here because we're even score. There's one more match. It's actually, what is the teams? Alive versus Tasia. So hold on here. Group assignment. Okay, so this is the round of 8 match we didn't get to. They're gonna face off against someone who a group that had a walkover in the semifinals. But then after this match, we're going to be moving into the losers rounds. There's a double elimination bracket here, where it's group assignment versus Titan EX1, the losers of last week's matches. That's how things are going to work. And we're still waiting. I don't know what they're discussing. But we are not in charge of this rodeo. Everyone besides Crank is just tacked on, given a rule book, and whenever we ask questions, we gotta refer to the rule book thing, which is fine. It's a lot of work to do, a lot of admin work to do when it comes to a team league, but yeah, we're seriously just along for the ride. Alright, we're finally ready to go. I don't know what the whole discussion was about, but it's done. Now we're going into Innovation versus Stats. The winner of this is now allowed to stay on for the rest of the, well, as long as they're winning, actually. So just to make clear, we've changed from, okay, now there's a new set of players every time to whoever wins stays on. It is all tied up in the top right on blue shifts. It is the blue Protoss Stats. In the bottom left, going for a proxy, it is the red Terran Innovation. What time is it at your location? The new app BaseTradeTV, who is not actually here. I do not log into BaseTradeTV's accounts when I do these things, so one day people will not just understand that, they will also remember that, I guess, is the issue. For me personally, it's 7 in the morning right now. If Rifkin was here, it'd be 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning. Math is hard. I don't know if that's like a recent tip, like it was yesterday or today. So if you do tip me today, then please let me know in chat as well, because I would hear it, but then I wouldn't be able to check it. So, and if I'm casting something, I won't be looking over at my ob screen. So yeah. Just a heads up, I'm not trying to ignore y'all. But if you do want to consider donating or doing bits today, I'd be really appreciative of it. It'd go to me, and soon enough to Maynard as well, will be joining me, hopefully for the next game. Anyways, the Protoss, Stats knows. I mean, what else is new, right, too? Like, he knows he's going to go look for it because you want to know exactly what type of proxy they're doing. He actually left the base before he saw the factory was at home, and that is very important to see because that cuts off the idea that it's a double Cyclone push. So that's at least one type of proxy gone. Shouldn't let the probe in the base. There you go. So it's just a proxy Reaper for now, but if you can get them to stop Chrono Wing, you don't, you know, obviously it's already gotten them to not go for a Nexus after Gateway, then it's already damage done, and to some Terrans that's enough damage, but you usually see something else proxied, for instance, the Starport. If you can get 2 probes, that would be pretty good. 1 is kind of, you know, the bare minimum, but not going to be able to get it. Did he even get a scout on the Stargate? Just barely not. So missing some crucial factors here. This Proxy Reaper is not a success quite yet. We don't have the proxied starport, but I mean the point is still it's on one base, so it's always a bit of a threat. If you're seeing some lag or whatever, it's because of the Korean server. Not getting the best luck today on that regard, but so be it. It's not the worst, I guess. Haven't been in channel a week or so. Did all you just get gifted subscriber status? No. No, not everyone got gifted a sub. That would be insane. A lot of people got gifted subs. But if you haven't figured it out, you are looking at a subscriber-only chat right now. Although I think the mods can go ahead and take it off now that they're here. Melty, if you want to do that, you can go ahead. If you prefer it this way, then I'm not going to force you to, I guess. Alright, what do we got here? Continued on. So the Oracle was expected. Unfortunately, it was not scouted as I was talking about, just until right now it looks like. And as such, there is no response to it. The Widow Mines are all picked up. And the Oracle is so scared because it sees a reactor factory. It's not going to die for the SCVs, in which it totally could have. But better safe than sorry, I guess. And didn't have much energy anyways. So Innovation kind of gets away with just picking up every single Widow Mine, which he really should not have been able to do. He was kind of hoping that the reactor factory would pop out in time. And actually, he's still playing with fire. I mean, the Widow Mines are once again seen to be picked up, so maybe this Oracle's going to be a little bit braver. Even if it is brave, though, it 3 shots SCVs down, not 2 shots. And oh my god, the Widow Mine's going to the mains, but the Oracle's not being paid attention to. Lots of probe damage? No, not really. Just 3. Just 3. Well, 4 and then 5. I was going to say, like, 6. Hey, there you go. It felt weird that 4 Widow Mines only got 3 probes, and then I realized that 2 did not go off. Now, the rest of these Widow Mines are going to be chased down, but because there's only so many units, Stats can't actually chase down every single one. He's trying to, but it's not quite working. He's still going to lose some probes, but Innovation's also going to lose some Widow Mines, so it is definitely still a give and take. But the amount of lost mining time, the amount of, Stats having to pay attention to other things, not his Oracles, for instance, so just like one of them died, is substantial. It's certainly a risk. What if they had more than one Phoenix and they caught you in transit every time? Then you'd be in a lot of trouble. But I think so far Innovation, considering that his Proxy Reaper did force out the reaction that every Protoss has to do. It's not like Stats could have had a better reaction. That's just something he has to do. And then on top of that, you're getting all this lost mining time. You didn't take any damage from the Oracle, not really anyways. Like, things are actually looking pretty good. Phoenix tries to add a bit of splash on the SCVs. Doesn't quite work out, but it does soak up the Widow Mine for the Oracle, which comes back in. And this is where that number of SCV kills gets evened out with the number of probe kills. We're back to where Stats would want to be in a TVP, which is up 10 probes. Now, he's still not on a third base, and he doesn't really have the money quite yet. He's actually right there right now, but he's also dealing with continued Widow Mine harassment. The 2 Widow Mines are going to get lifted? No, they're going to stay put to kind of... They're going to get the kill on Phoenix if 2 of them pop off. In this case, the Phoenix is already low. So, assuming the Phoenix chases the medevac, it's going to be chasing to death. Oh, God. So far, Stats have been pretty good about not losing any army to the Widow Mines, which, in some ways is better than getting a 6 probe pop off, like 1 stalker, but, yeah. There we go. Does he realize the second one? Nope. No, he doesn't. Oh, I almost got the medevac! Oh, Oh, it's gonna get the medevac. Okay. The transferring the Widow Mines killed that medevac. All right, this is a really weird game, but let's go into let's actually look at the units lost because I probably haven't caught everything. Even on the workers, thanks to the Oracle, 9 Widow Mines, but then you get both Oracles and a Phoenix. I mean, 3 medevacs. Okay, that was gonna say the resources lost is not in favor of innovation, but as far as the pacing of the game, I think it is actually in favor of innovation. Oh my god. Oh, it was really close to getting all those probes. Really, really, really close. But nice hold. The Immortals definitely helped out there. Okay. I still would argue that pacing-wise, innovation is in the lead, even though that was an even bigger dip in the resources lost for him. He's now even on workers. Stats was never able to get that third base I was talking about that he probably did want to have. He's a bit late to his Twilight Council upgrades as well, understandably so, but, you know, Blank only just now finishing, so Charge is a long ways off. That is really scary. His third Nexus is even slightly behind the third command center of the Terran. Yeah, I mean, resources lost might not be in the Terran's favor, and I mean, you could say it never really is supposed to be. So that's, you know, that's one contributor, but it's also just stats having to deal with everything was too much. Even though he really got quite good at dealing with it, it still was too much. The Viking actually wins that battle nowadays, but it probably got shot first, which is the problem. This Widow Mine might get a couple more shots. No, he's gonna find it. But the third Nexus might not be able to get up as Innovation is finally ready to go. He's got Widow Mines, he's got +1, he's got Bio with all of its upgrades and a couple of medevacs, and he's kind of defending his third while he attacks the third of stats. A scan reveals how much of an army is there, and it's like, it's good units, it's just not enough units. And again, we still don't have that charge. Widow Mine's gonna be just dropped on top of the army. Really cool to see that. They are instantly targeted down. So not the best use of the carpet bomb, but oh, we also had a drop or just a run by. I'm not sure which one into the natural. Now trying to go into the main. That Viking was never taken care of, so that could do more damage later on. Double drop headed towards the main as well as the observer. It's like the only observer from stats. Well, his 2 observers are scouting the army right now. So that is going to be a lot of damage. This Widow Mine is finally taken care of. It knows it drew back quite a few important units. But Innovation's not going to focus so much on attacking the fronts as he is going for that drop. Now, Storm and Charge are about to finish, and that was the scariest time for stats, is without those upgrades and without +1 armor. He was in a bad position, but he holds. This does not end up going for a drop in the main, but rather just taking on the Cybernetics Core, which is quite annoying. But at least now he's on to Templars and Zealots, which don't need Cybernetics Core. Scan in the middle, I guess, was looking for harassment. Oh, it was a good storm. That was like right in the heart of the army. Really nicely done. Maybe a feedback. Nah, I wouldn't kill any medevacs. Widow Mines are planted down, so no more chasing to be done as Stats is now focused on this attack, but that Viking is really helping out. He does manage to grab it at the last second, but still leaves over at least 1 medevac's worth of units, and a very healthy medevac at that. Innovation on 3 bases and up in SCVs is now just a powerhouse of macro, as I think now is more about, like, I mean, Stats is doing what he can with the units he got, with the upgrade timings he got, but the power, oh god, the number of units Innovation has is just overwhelming, and Stats seriously overextends here. He probably got 1 good storm or saw the reinforcing units and didn't realize that the rest of the army was actually just kind of waiting to pounce, so he got absolutely trampled. Sorry I missed how that went down, but we know it did not go down well for Stats, as that was his best chance at winning this game. Were those storm drops, were the Immortals, and Innovation seriously living up to his name of the team. Everyone probably looked at that and was like, Innovation is performing even worse than his teammates, and his teammates weren't performing at all in the Super Tournament. Yet it's Innovation in the Team League that's winning. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna get a Zoom call up as Maynard is here. And hopefully, since we have that time where they have to choose their next player, we'll be able to do this in time. Bing bong. Is Zoom working?
It is.
Golly, yay! Hello.
Yes. What up, ZG?
Oh, your camera is even still here from like the last time I used this.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually have a new webcam, so
Oh
I'm like
yeah.
higher frames per second.
Nice.
Sharper, crisper Maynard. I'm
Very
ready.
good then.
I'm here.
All right, guys, let me know how his audio is compared to everything else, and then we should be good to go. So I invite you to the lobby. So Innovation just won that game. I don't know if you caught the tail end of it.
I did. I just saw it.
Nice. And
He just
then,
said that he's speaking. He's really standing up to his team's name.
yes, Innovation one-man team. This is
Very
team's
apt.
name. He's going to be facing Dark now, though, who is the last... Actually, I think that's the only player that was available for the other team, as I understand it. So it wasn't even much of a choice.
Oh.
Okay. So Innovation versus Dark. If Dark wins, we go to the ace match, and I think Innovation's team can choose between any of the remaining players it has left, so Sue or Zest. But that's if Innovation loses. He's been carrying his team pretty well.
I'm pretty keen to see this one. Innovation and Dark are two of my favorite players from their respective races in the world, so I'm keen. And I'm not talking about the player. I'm just a very Australian way of saying that I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the I mean, this is going to be a really sick series, but the next series, Crank is even reminding me that this is something we did, is going to be done through replays. Just a heads up to everyone. So we might be, I mean, we're definitely going to be casting replays. There's no, there's no changing that. But we might be swapping over to the North American server to make sure we never get any of this server lag, because apparently the Korean server likes to affect us even if it's from replays, which just doesn't make any sense to me. But that's
Really.
That's yeah. We we tried last time and it was like number one Korean server lag. And we were like, oh, all right then, okay. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Damn.
Anywho, so that'll be a problem for later. Crank says it's okay, and we'll just get the replays. So let's finish off this series though, and hope that Korean server lag doesn't affect us. Seems like we're good. It's potentially the last match. Although on the bottom right, this guy could bring it back. It is the Blue Zerg Dark.
That's right. It's all on him to bring it back for the ace match for his team. And this guy in the top left, just one more, and that's all. And he's one and done. He is the one-man team. This is Innovation.
Looks like we did have a tip, so thank you, Melty, for the dollar bills. And I'm just trying to keep track by watching the recent tip, because again, I can't quite pay attention to the donations. I don't have the same little pop-up in chat like we do for resubs.
Yeah. The stream alerts, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for just the tip there, Melty.
Hey.
The tip is, I mean, even if you can just tip, it is still stimulating. So thank you.
Yeah. So the last time Innovation was able to take a game off of the Zerg was against Solar, a T-Rax, and it went really, really, really well. Not going to start this game off the same way, but it's Azu Plant, so I can imagine some of the ways Innovation's going to try and abuse the map, specifically around that third base with the tank push. That's what I'm thinking anyways.
Yeah, Innovation, to what you were just saying there, he loves his 2-2 tank pushes. He whips it out at least once against a Zerg in a series. This is a best of one, but it is just something that he's like, it's a high percentage chance that he will do it. First thing I was looking for when we logged in this game was in the top left of the minimap. I was going to see if there's any little red dots moving across the map, because he also likes to proxy barracks from time to time. But Acid Plant's a bit of a janky map for that, and he isn't, just playing pretty regular here. Just Reaper Expand, 1-1-1.
You might be thinking Dark is more apt to spawning pool first. I mean, Solar is not foreign to the concept. It just worked out so well against him in that specific game. But even in this game, it actually would have worked out, I think, okay. Dark didn't go hunting for the T-Rax with his Overlords and did actually go for Hatch first. Oh, well. But yeah, you can see, like, the Reaper's even being kept at home, because I think he is, like, just like, you know what? Dark would do that. Dark didn't do that, though.
Dark is extremely scary. He's one of those Zergs that's very, very hard to predict. He will pull first as often as he won't, so being careful is very, very important, especially considering that Innovation did not SCV scout, so you kind of need, just for safety's sake, not to automatically lose the game, have that Reaper hanging out at the bottom. Potentially not lose the game, but, just not have to cancel your CC or lose an SCV or anything like that.
Yeah.
Dark's getting a good look here of all the Tech of Innovation. No Tech Lab conspicuously on this barracks just yet. Might be waiting for that Overlord to go away before he does that, but he doesn't really have anything to make it go away.
Yeah, that's the problem right now. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do about that Overlord. He doesn't really want to reveal what he's doing, whether it's a Medevac or a Banshee, and the Overlord at this rate would see everything. So he's going to go for a Viking. That might not have been his original plan, but it's something he has to do. There are some Overlord or Zerg players who don't use their Overlords like this at all. They seriously don't even bother scouting, assuming that they'll read into what it is based off of depots or Hellions timings and stuff like that. Those are the really greedy Zerg, I think.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Hellions, we had a couple here. Not a huge threat. Oopsie daisy's taking a little bit of a ride there on that KD8 grenade. It's only 5 damage, and he heals up, so no problem. No harm, no foul. We didn't see that innovation. Don't worry about it. There's some links in the top right here. It looks like Dark's potentially waiting for the Hellions to leave the natural so they can just run in and pick up some SCVs. There goes that Overlord, and there's that Tech Lab. I was kind of joking that he'd wait for the Overlord to go away to get that Tech Lab, because that really slows things down there. Like his stim, if you wanted to go into bio after this, or even if you wanted to switch that over to a starport, he's getting a second Tech Lab, actually. So
yeah,
a little bit of an interesting opening here in this 1-1-1 for innovation. Certainly not standard.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that works out. So I mean, it's right for stim. There's no trick like going on to tanks that fast, because that could have been an option. Actually, it's still gonna be an option. There you go.
Oh, okay.
It's not so much tricky as it is just tricky was definitely the wrong word. As it is like it's really safe. A lot of Terran players are adding in that tank so much faster, whether it's this fast or maybe like after their first 2 barracks are down, then the point is so much faster than ever before, and this is definitely very safe. And when you're facing Dark, who has just gotten the full read on the situation, who could have been like, you know what, you're not getting any really scary units, I can go for like a roach bus or something like that. Getting that faster tank is really, I think, a very good idea.
Yeah, Dark's been holding off on the drones for a little bit here, but there's a nice big round of a dozen of them popping out now. These Hellions looking for a bit of an opening. There's only 6 queens here from Dark, and I say only 6. So not uncommon to see more than that at this stage of the game, but it's a lot of Hellions, and he's just basically defending with Ling and Queen. He's going to be very, very careful, but Dark's doing a really good job with zoning out these Hellions so far.
So far. With 2 more Hellions than normal, yeah, these Lings aren't really, they do not want to be a part of the defense, ideally.
No. That's a one-way ticket to Barbecue Town.
Yes, it is. So continued production here for innovation. His 3rd CC's done. Bio, barracks production on the way. Just the 1 tank, and then swapping over to reactor. Might be swapping over to even faster 5 racks production, or he might actually be going into Widow Mine, something he did against Solar. Although that game was kind of weird because Solar was doing this weird back and forth thing on the Roaches versus Ling Baneling. Yeah. So we'll just
he is going very fast in the 5 racks, and he's going for Widow Mines here. Interesting. There you go.
Yeah. All right then. So not usually what you see abuse Acid Plant, because tanks are a little bit better at abusing this spot. They're not one and done like Widow Mines, and they got that range. But I mean, this is such a predictable attack path. Innovation might not even really try and abuse it. I feel like with Widow Mines, you do see a bit faster on those drops, more emphasis on the drops. Innovation doing something kind of cute right now, which is splitting up his Hellions. It just sees more way of run-bys.
This is actually, I feel like this is playing Dark more than playing the matchup, because Dark really loves run-bys. He was like the guy that was doing all that. For me, he was like the Korean run-by king before we started seeing the likes of, Reina and that sort of thing. And he would just do it all the damn time. Yeah. So it's a good read from Innovation. Good usage of these Hellions, considering he's not getting drone damage, really.
Yeah, definitely. It also makes sure that there's no pesky little Ling that scouts these medevacs way in advance. They still go over a creep tumor, which is not, it's not the biggest surprise. It's not really ever the biggest surprise. It still could have been nice. And now he collects all of his units together. Sometimes those Zergs actually break down the rocks for the Terran. There was a potential there, but now with the armory done, he could even do an attack and try and soak these Banelings, but despite trying to get some place to unload, to attack, I mean, Dark's all over him.
And Dark's also starting to pump out those Hydras, and this is going to get scary for Innovation. If those Hydras get really high in number and his bio count and Widow Mine count is a little weak, like if he can't really deal with the Lings and Banes, then the Hydras can certainly do the rest. Foregoing siege tanks here, only still on the single factory is Innovation. So it's going to be a little bit tough for him to engage high numbers of Hydralisks.
Dark almost messing up against a Widow Mine there. Didn't realize there's 2 of them in the medevacs already.
Yeah, that was a good time when I was laddering a Zerg the other day. It's like,
Yeah.
gotta shift click really quickly against this Widow Mine. Oopsie daisies, everything's dead.
Dark going rather fast in Infestation Pit. The attack that you kind of clean up and you're like, oh, I can take a chill pill and go for an Infestation Pit. That hasn't really happened yet, as Innovation's still bulking up a ton of units back at home. This is just a cleanup crew of creep, his Hellions and his double medevac drop.
And normally I'd be worried for the Terran that has this many bio units against the Zerg that has this many Hydras and Lings, but Innovation has got a very, very substantial army supply lead. I know it's only 20, but at this point in the game with 2-2 halfway done, I actually feel like this engagement is potentially one that Innovation could win if Dark miscontrols his units here. The Widow Mines are a big question mark in my brain of will they change this battle or will it just be forced back?
Damn, he's gonna go for it. He's got so much to soak up the Banelings. Not just Hellbats, but the Marauders and the Widow Mines as well. But Dark, a very clever Zerg, uses only a portion of his Ling Baneling. Unfortunately, only gets a portion of the Hellbat Marauder force, and so many Widow Mines still have their shots.
Yeah, we got about 4 of them still on charge. There goes 1, only getting a handful of Lings, and Dark still being very careful here, bleeding in these Lings and Banes piecemeal. The Hydra's still at the back end here, not really firing. The Hydra's outrange Widow Mines as well, so they're a really good choice. They also have Groove Spines. So Muscular Augur's just finished, and they are just about ready to try and get into this little entrenched location for Innovation, really using the map to his advantage. This run by a Dark looks like it might be a potential to get a cancel here, which is a nice move by Dark, but this army of Innovation is still extremely scary.
Oh, it's all bumped up. Oh, the Marauders are no longer on the front lines. The cancel did go down. Actually, it was a kill, so he was paying so much attention to the force. He had thought maybe this would have been enough in time and just loses it.
Well, that's actually a much better pick off there for Dark as I expected. The Innovation is actually not too good on the mineral bank right now. He's been using every single bit of minerals he's going in. He's going hand to mouth right now with his bio production, trying to make another CC on location as well. And with a tank here now, that's going to help him out a little bit against this army of Dark, but it is still quite good compositionally. Ooh, a Liberator as well.
That Liberator's going to add to... I mean, because so many of these attacks are just small portions of Banelings that this is the situation where the Liberator is actually killing the very important units of the Zerg as opposed to just like measly Lings every now and again.
There's not that many Banelings here for Dark. He has some, and normally I'd be a lot scared of this Baneling count, but at this point, with this few of a siege tank number, maybe he can get the job done. Another run by of Dark. That's a cancel this time, but he's not stopping the love here. He's got some Banelings, and it looks like he might want to try and break through that natural and do some really critical damage to Innovation or force him back. Innovation's not taking the bait, though. He's trying to entrench on this hatchery. Does a little bit of damage. A flank from Dark could potentially bait Widow Mines into the bio as well. The Banelings from the back end as well. Connecting with the Marines for the most part. Innovation has to pull all the way back here. Unfortunately, on the edge of pre-spread.
That pickup was a little bit late. He still lost like 15 Marines, a couple of those last Banelings. That was a very sick use of the units there. Dark was definitely going to go for the run by. Decided, you know what? I gotta collapse in on Innovation. Innovation, I don't think he thought about that until the last second. The group of units back here was so clumped up. Were not split like they could have maybe been. As it is, that did not completely stop Innovation in his tracks. He's finally getting his 4th base not in location, thankfully. There is still a continued game here, but that did take away a lot of momentum.
Certainly, and Innovation going to try and get some of that back here. He would love to get a hatchery kill or a handful of drones here. He's going to have an upgrade advantage pretty shortly as well, but that's not uncommon in this matchup for Terran to be on 3-3 for a little while before the Zerg gets it. I would say, if anything, Dark's pretty close in upgrades in this kind of game. He's not. I'm not usually seeing a hive this quickly with ultras and 3-3 after that much aggression. Like, he had to make a lot of tier 2 units, and the fact that he still has hive and 3-3 and adrenal on the way at the back of all that means that Dark's kind of, dotting his I's, crossing his T's.
He's looking quite good. I mean, to get the hive behind all that pressure. He's also just doing, I think, I have to really highlight this, a really good job against the Widow Mines. We haven't seen really one particularly good one. Splitting his Lings, making sure to send in like tiny groups of units. I'm not saying Widow Mines are the problem in this game for Innovation, but they're not as helpful as he was hoping they would be. But Lord Liberator's coming out here, a heavier Marauder count as well to really soak up what was majority Banelings. And these Vipers, well, I was going to say, like, what are they going to be used for? And it's Parasitic Bomb on the Medevacs. Oh, that was a really effective one.
Yeah, that was actually a cash money Parasitic Bomb. He is going to lose his hatchery. Does have 5 bases still, so it's not the worst thing in the world. He's certainly not dead, but it does sting. Dark's going to lose a little bit of ground here as Innovation not only kills that hatchery, he's going to take out a lot of the creep tumors on the way through as well, getting with this creep highway. The Liberators are sieging up a little bit late. The Hydras are in range of them, and they are going to go down. The Baneling's connecting pretty nicely there with a bunch of Marines as well. Looks like Innovation's going to get deflected by Dark here.
Yeah, it's such a hard composition for the Terran to use. Like, whenever... I mean, they clump up when they micro, right? And then your Marines get in front of your Marauders, and they take those hits, and suddenly you're down 20 supply when you're hoping that you were actually supposed to trade effectively. Those supposed to be Marauders soaking up the Banelings, and then it's the wrong unit all of a sudden. Those upgrades you're talking about are now back to being even. So I said, like, they're actually rather well timed. Even though they're, like, you know, a little bit behind, that is quite usual. Fourth base is done for Innovation. He's onto a heavy Marauder count, so the Ultras still have some type of counter. But as far as the game is really going, it's not looking good for Innovation. He's going up against a Zerg who still has a decent amount of creep spread, who's able to replace his bases because his mineral count's not the problem. His gas count is, actually. You know, still hasn't taken all of his gases, and that might be a bit of an issue. But
yeah, I think that's a blunder for sure from Dark there. He definitely wants it. He agrees with you. Just takes that gas. Gas got to saturate those immediately.
Yeah. Innovation did lose his last 2 medevac drops, by the way. Didn't really get to highlight that, but he's got 2 more sent out. He knows how important it is to keep up this momentum, and that's what his army type is really truly designed for, with the speedy Widow Mines as well.
Well, I mean, the other scary thing is because of Dark having Hive here, Innovation now has to deal with these Vipers as well. Already 1 Parasitic Bomb, getting rid of 3 medevacs, and he could also Blinding Cloud this army and make starter stepping very, very difficult. And it looks like he's actually just going to use more Parasitic Bombs here on his medevacs, which are really the longevity here for this bio. You get rid of these medevacs, and all of a sudden, the rally potential of that bio isn't as scary. These Ultras with the Lings are actually deflecting the Widow Mines very, very nicely here. Oh, actually, a little bit of a sparker on that. Drone loses 3, potentially could have only lost 1, but who cares? I'm splitting hairs here. Dark's doing a really good job defensively.
Well, the Natural's a bit open. Oh, no, he's going back into 3rd. That might not be the best idea. Well, maybe he'll get a lot of Queens. These Queens would be transfuses for the Ultras later on. This army of Dark was way ahead of what was actually the important units. I guess all of them were kind of sent back home. Innovation's still keeping up the momentum, as I was talking about. He's not got a 5th place as a planetary, and he did slap down a Ghost Academy, so he has that other, you know, next step. And those Widow Mines, they can be oddly effective in these situations. They're going to catch those Ling Banelings, and they're going to actually pierce through the armor of the Ultra, but that planetary is not quite ready to go yet. Innovation's out of position.
And Dark is in position to try and get a base kill here, or at least force a lift. Innovation coming from 2 angles here. Dark realizing that he doesn't want to overextend and lose his army. This is still kind of balanced on an edge here in this game. Like, even though there's been a lot of losses for both players, a very bad engagement on either side could absolutely end the game in either player's favor. The Ghosts are coming out now. It's going to come down to the Spellcaster part of the super late game here in TVZ. Innovation's going to want to get those Ghosts on those Ultras. No Broodlords just yet to worry about. I don't think Dark has a Spire. So it's just all about Hydras for anti-air here. So the Liberator count's going to get up there for Innovation as well.
Oh, is he paying attention? He could try and EMP the Vipers. There actually aren't that many Ultras, so I'm not like, well, he's going to snipe them down anyways. But no EMP on the Vipers. Parasitic Bomb goes down. The Split and the Concave are rather good, though. Oh, but the Planetary goes down.
And losing that Planetary really does suck for Innovation. He's going to get very, very oversaturated. His Natural is already 13 SCVs on 4 mineral patches remaining, or 4 mining spots remaining. But Dark is really pressing the issue here. Some snipes are going down on these Hydras from Innovation. Last-ditch maneuvers here on these Ghosts, but they are so low in hit points. Are they going to hold on? Oh my god. Ghost. Ghost, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good unit.
They barely held on. Looks like Innovation lost 1 drop in the bottom position. He's going to, well, not lose another. It's not really going to do the damage he was hoping for. Now it's more about time buying as well. He really needed that command center, so he's going to lift his main and try and send it over, but he also really, really needed it to be a planetary. That one over here helped out so much against an Ultra. I think that was too much. Innovation, unless he can buy like a good solid 2 minutes of time, I don't see how he's going to do that. Dark is almost already remaxed.
Putting your orbital out here is like, it's showing off your soft underbelly, your weakness to the Zerg. You're absolutely right. You need a planetary here to have any chance of holding against a massive ground army like this. And Dark's the kind of guy that when he sees you don't have that much splash damage, he will select all those Lings, hold that E button until they're all little green rolling Banelings of death. And I've seen him win games just like that before. He is still respecting these Widow Mines, though. Another drop from Innovation on the far right of the map. So much Zerg on the dance floor, though. Innovation not going to stick around.
No, that didn't work out well at all. I mean, Innovation only down 20 army supply. That is where, like, snipes are really good, Widow Mines are really good. He can still hold on, but it's not looking great without that planetary, too. He scans. He knows what he's up against. He's going to try and take a good fight here. Oh, snipes do go down. Widow Mines do get some shots, but there's still so much Zerg left over.
There certainly is. There's not that many Hydras, but the Liberators have been yanked out of their sieged up locations. Parasitic Bombs is chewing through everything, and Dark is going to make it go to the ace match. Well played. That was actually a really sick CVT there.
Yes, it was. It was, I mean, it was close, not quite, but it was on a razor thin edge of like, well, these Widow Mines could make it really, really close. Close into like the 10 minutes.
I feel like it was a little bit stylistic, like a little bit of a style there from Innovation that he was trying to make work. Like, I am surprised that he did not go into siege tanks, and I think that Dark certainly punished him for it. His anti-Widow Mine control, like you brought it up already during the cast, but he just very, very rarely took any damage from those Widow Mines, or at least very inefficient damage.
Yeah. And that's also like someone right up in chat, and I gotta bring it up too. It's like, if you're gonna go into Widow Mines, this is something that Innovation has done before, but I still agree with you. It's like a stylistic thing. I don't actually think it's what you want to stick on. But like, why not go for the Drilling Claws upgrade? Not just for the Drilling Claws upgrade, but like 3 Widow Mines instead of just 2 at a time also could have been a big difference.
I actually think he potentially never had a tech lab in his factory. It might have just been a reactor the whole game.
Yeah.
I think he actually took that tech lab that I thought the factory was going to switch onto. Probably plonked a barracks on there for Marauder or Ghost production.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's just like, I mean, there's so many things that are wrong with just going into Widow Mines that late into the game. There can be some things that are right. Like if your momentum really is not being stopped and you just, you keep on piling it on, which is what Widow Mines are really good for, then they will pierce the shields of the armor of the Ultras, and if they're still kind of like struggling to get maxed out, then suddenly your Bioforce just overwhelms. But I mean, that was like a minute into the Ultras, there was that maybe, and then it very quickly became okay, this is no longer working.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Dark was good to kind of make sure that he died for that too. There was a different Zerg who doesn't attack as well or run by as well, and Innovation kind of gets away with transitioning into Ghosts and Liberators, and Dark didn't let him do that.
No, there was like that one moment in the natural where Dark overextended because he probably thought, like most of us, that he could kill those 4 ghosts.
Yeah.
If I was Dark after that, I'd just be like, oh, come on! And then just maxed and won the game anyway.
Yeah, exactly. The revive, as far as I understand it, is going to be Sue. So I wasn't wrong. He was almost the last player, but he went with Innovation instead. But no, it's going to be Sue versus Dark. I don't know if you were paying attention to their last game in this series. Were you like, taking a shower or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was getting my gym stank off me.
It was so good. They both 12-pull drone pulled.
Oh.
And like it was.
Did they meet in the middle of the map?
No, because it's lost and found. They kind of bypass each other because their overlords can't really see it.
Top and bottom. Oh.
Yeah, so they just like ended up killing each other's like bases, and then it was very clear that Dark was gonna win, and Sue just was like typing to him in Korean. Like I think at one point someone translated one of the things was he was saying like "come at me, bro," and then he
nice.
He just ended up. It was so weird. I don't think they're gonna do it again, but that must be in the back of their minds.
I mean, you can already tell from the team names that they're just having a blast in this team league, which is great.
Yeah, that's very true. Gonna show some personality. No 12 pulls this game. It is the ace match on Parasite. In the top left, as the blue Zerg for Team Innovation one-man team, it is Sue.
And for Team Celendus and Bugs, it's one of the Bugs. And what a bug. It's Dark.
Who came up with their team names? I'm pretty sure they all did. It's just like, it's roughly translated in English. Like the teams came up with team names, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I've been really loving lately. Hajin, who's obviously you guys out there in Chatland might recognize her as the hostess of Nation Wars, the last one. She has been doing a lot for StarCraft and the Korean side of things in terms of like just making contact with the players and really showing off their personality to the world. And I really loved the interviews that she did at GSL vs. the World with Dark, and also Classic as well before whoever won the Super Tournament won the Super Tournament. So lots of cool interviews and getting to see the personality of the players, like you mentioned. We really, like, as English fans of the game, get very very rare occurrences do we get to actually experience that and have it translated so well. Unless Dark is tearing a poster in half, we don't really know, we don't really see their personality much. So it's cool.
It is really cool. It's I had no idea she was planning on visiting Korea. Well, I guess I knew she was planning on it, but I didn't realize it was like, well, right now. So it's cool that she was doing that. She's also doing a bunch of like League of Legends interviews, so she's kind of just all over the place.
Yep, she's a filthy game trader.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just kidding. Hajin's really, really sweet. She's been at a couple of WCSs in Europe as well. I think, pretty sure she was in Valencia.
Yes, I think she was, yeah. And then she's also gone to Home Story Cups. I mean, that's kind of where people first saw her, so.
Yeah, well, that's definitely where I first met her. It was at the last, not the last Home Story Cup, the one last year. Last winter's Home Story Cup, the one straight after BlizzCon.
I'm so excited as we watch nothing happen in this game, really.
I mean, we're just shooting the shit right now, guys. Like, get your no one casts StarCraft on BaseTradeTV memes really ready, but this is early game ZVZ. Both players are doing the exact same build. I mean the exact same build. They're doing the same drone count, everything. It's all pretty regular. Yeah,
but I'm really excited to go to Home Story Cup. It looks like I'm not going to get as cheap of a plane ticket as I was hoping for. I'm like, I mean, it's just one of those things where like, the flight 2 is kind of like, oh, it's not great, but I can deal with it. But the flight going back, no matter what day I go back, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, is like 15 hours in Ireland. Have fun. Like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's a good spot to drink if you've got a crew of people, but if you're by yourself, probably not so much.
Yeah. I don't know.
The good thing about being a person on Twitch, though, is that you can mitigate a lot of your flight costs by saying, hey, chat, this is Main Idea. Zombie Grub is one of my best friends, and I'd really love for her to have a little bit of less worries there at Home Story Cup. Maybe a few extra drinks on you. What do you say, chat? Buy a lady a drink. Click that donate button.
I'm gonna think I'm gonna have no problem getting drinks in Home Story Cup.
Don't tell them that. Rip donations. Guess they're not happening.
Yeah, I know, right? I hope.
So that a lot of lings and a Baneley nest on the way here for Dark. Sue, I think, is he didn't make that many lings, so I guess it was just a defensive one. But Dark's does not look defensive.
No, it's not. I mean, this is enough to really threaten the third base. It's not all in, but when in this case, when Sue does not see the lings, he has a lair on the way, not his own lings, not his own banelings. They're just morphing right now, and only a few of them. Like this is where Dark's attack can actually get the third base, but oddly enough, it doesn't go to the right third base. I guess he didn't realize where it was taken. Okay, that's kind of awkward.
Well, he went to the right, but not the correct one.
Now they might not get it.
I've been spending too much time with Fear Dragon and team games lately. My joke quality has gone down very sharply.
Well, he might still be able to do it if he can get rid of all the banelings. He's like very close to doing so, but he's not really reinforcing this, so it's one of those like, well, maybe you could have taken on a third base. Sue was looking like he'll barely hold.
Yeah, you don't really need that many banelings. Obviously, defender's advantage is a big deal in ZVZ as well, and he still has those banelings. Wow, a nice connection there on those drones. He's going to want to babysit those little guys for a little bit there. You know, get 4 or 5 speedlings in that mineral line, shift click through, and that's a lot of dead drones. So
we got roaches on the way for Dark, so the ling scuffle really is quite over. I mean, he forced Sue to sort of, well, yeah, I'd actually say definitely overmake lings and banelings. Just, you know, because lings at this point are no longer what you really want to get to, and then also Sue wanted to get to Aspire, and that would have been down maybe even 30 seconds to a minute earlier. The lair's been done for a little while, so this is really awkward. Dark kind of knows what's up, so he's sending the roaches across the map without speed. He's going to go all in from here. No more droning, and Sue's desperately trying to get 2 spine crawlers, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The real thing is once those spine crawlers go down, and they will go down, is there a standing army to be able to erase this roach count rather of Dark? And the answer is not likely. The banelings at least don't get those splash damage connection dares and the spine crawlers, so maybe I really thought those spine crawlers were going to go down to the banelings.
Well, things are getting more interesting. The roaches, obviously, there's not going to be a lot of roach reinforcements. The map's too large for that, and that is working substantially in Sue's favor as they just go for drone kills. But drone kills really isn't enough. Once Sue's mutas are out, he'll be able to clean up everything else, and the roaches will really no longer be a problem.
Certainly. Oh man, the roaches on the left are fighting and standing there against those lings. They are winning that engagement, but the reinforcements are here from Sue. Can Dark's banelings make the difference here? He's looking for those Zergling connections. Nice micro from Sue, though, keeping a lot of those Zerglings alive.
Wow, really nice micro. I mean, the roaches were in a decent spot, so they've held their own for a long time, but Sue, the worst follow-up for him was the amount of Lings left over for Dark. You know, they get into every single base. The Mutas can't clean them up that much. They would have gotten a kill on the third if they got a surround. And instead, he micros evenly, deals with the roaches, and now has a pretty strong lead. Not in drones, but in terms of momentum, especially since the Tatri is not going to die. He's going to clean up a lot of Overlords. He's going to force Dark to play a very defensive game on a very long map. And Su should be able to replenish that drone count, unless Dark does another all-in, and I guess that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, well, he's going for the Nidus here, a different flavor of all-in, and the Mutas are looking for that drone damage. They get 4 so far. They fly through the main, and they see the worm. Hello, Dark. Caught with your hand in the cookie jar, and now Su's just going to have to prepare here.
His
Watch out for the spore crawlers.
Best bet, besides making sure not to lose any Mutas, is probably to also try and find the Overlord, well, the Overlord making the Nidus Worm, yes, that's true, but also to find a Nidus Worm. And if you can actually get Bailings on top of that, that's an easy way to shut it down. But I don't think he's going to be able to find it. Ling's over to the left side, so he's just going to go for the pure Muta defense. He might be forced to once again retreat back to his Spine Crawlers, give up his third base, and that makes a really weird game. Oh, hold on.
And Worm spotted here. So the Queens are coming out, and obviously the Queens are a pretty big threat to the Mutalisks. And Dark, he needs to get something done with this. Like, this needs to do damage. If he gets deflected here, Dark is probably going to have to tap out.
I don't know about, like, Su's really late to moving his Spine Crawlers. By the way, thank you very much to Yub for the $20 donation. Happened at some point. Yeah, the Spine Crawlers are going to both. They're still going to be rooting. Here come the Mutas, but there's like 5 Queens, 6 Queens, with a lot of transfuse energy.
Yeah, the Roaches are really cleaning up these Lings. Spine Crawlers from the north are starting to get through that Roach count, but again, these Queens, they're out of juice here. Only one Queen almost with a transfusion. There we go. She comes in from the worm.
This,
the 100 Queens are going down. Uh-oh.
This did not look as close as I thought it was. Dark is not doing enough with this.
That's really bad for Dark. He's super boned.
Yeah, that's really, really weird. He was supposed to at least get the third base, which again was like, it was still so low from the last attack, and not getting that, not really hitting the Muta count that hard either. Like, I feel like 4 of them went down, and that's not what he was hoping for. Dark's trying to get into an infestation pit for fungals, I guess? But nothing substantial. Not here, not right now.
Yeah. Mutas and these Lings are DPSing the hell out of the static defense. Spore Crawler's going down. The Natural's wide open here for these Mutas and Lings to dive. Another Queen going down. These Roaches are like, shit, wish we could shoot up.
Right? The Spore Crawlers going down are, I mean, that's it. That's really it for Dark, who lost all of his Queens. You know, if he had 10 Queens right now, this is not as snowbally, but he was really depending on those Spore Crawlers being up, protecting his drone lines, protecting his rally. Instead, both of them are down, so he's microing with the Nidus network, which is really quite cool. But that's not going to be enough. GG. Su takes it for Team Innovation. One-man team.
One-man team indeed, Innovation. Su had to do the job for you. But well played. That was actually a fun ZVZ there. Dark, in true Dark fashion, going for something really weird and going for a Nidus with a bunch of Queens, try and counter Lingbane Muta. Nearly worked. Actually, no, it didn't really nearly work. It kind of got shot on, didn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, the Nidus Run portion was not as strong of a follow-up as you were expecting. Yeah.
Dog Dozer says, "Holy shit, Su won a final." Did he though?
Did he?
He won the last map in the round of 8, I think.
Yes.
Of the TeamLeague. So doesn't quite count as a final just yet, but appreciate the enthusiasm.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be it for that. They'll, like, Team Innovation, my team, goes on to face Beyond and the Kids, but that's not what is happening next. The next series is going to be Group Assignment versus Titan EX1, which is a losers round match from last week. We're going to be doing that. It's all from replays, but we're also going to be kind of skewing away from Crank here. Going to try and keep things roughly lined up on the games, but if we fall behind or they fall behind, remember, no spoilers from chat to chat. And we're going to be moving on to the NA server as soon as we get those replays. But we're also going to be taking a 2-minute break, as I think it says up anyways. So we will see you guys very soon. Welcome back, everyone. So we're still waiting on the replays. Just no problem to get all bundled and sent over to us. It's not like Crank's starting it yet anyways. But, the team members of the upcoming teams, we saw them a week and a couple days ago since this had to be moved from Friday, the usual time slot. But we got Titan EX1, who is the players of Titan EX1. Makes a lot of sense. Alive Bunny Impact. And then Group Assignment, who many of you will probably be really hyped about because that's the team full of all the old team members.
That's the Wings of Liberty group.
Yeah, Fantasy, Tasia, and Parting. I feel like their name is Group Assignment because they got forced into this group. They were kind of the leftovers, but I feel like they could have come up with
I think that's the joke they were going for.
Yeah,
like the
they
leftovers.
They could have been called I don't know, the old fogies or something equivalent in Korean. But oh well.
Yeah. 2 Terrans, a Protoss, and 3 walking frames. That's what I call them. Well, guys, there was a really good start earlier in the cast where $20 came in for Zombie Grub to get, I think that's actually 2 European beers. This is quite expensive. Because she's not going to be drinking that garbage, all right? She's going to be having some nice wheat beer, some German wheat beer. So that's about, I'd say, $10, maybe 7 or 8 euro per beer.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good start, but obviously for Home Story Cup, it's a 3-4 day event. Damn.
It's 4 days, yeah.
Yeah, 4-day event. Damn. That's 1 drink, guy. Oh, sorry, that's 2 drinks. You think 2 drinks is going to last 4 days? I don't think so. I actually think that. Yeah, I think that you can do better, chat. I believe in you guys. It's what do we got? 755 viewers. I mean, one of you's got to be a millionaire.
Statistically.
What are the odds? Statistically, yeah, right. one of you needs to be like a director or a CEO at least, like someone that's on 100K a year for sure.
I mean,
what is an extra $100 to give to Zombie Grub right now for Home Story Cup? What is it to you? It's like flicking 5 cents at a homeless person. Are you going to really just sit there and not donate? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to sit there, polish your Porsche, one of 6 of your very fancy sports cars that you drive to work? You probably have a car called Monday. You have a car called Tuesday. You have a car called Wednesday. You have a car called Thursday. You get the picture. And you're just like, you know what? I'm polishing Monday right now because it's getting ready for work. But damn, I got all this money and it's burning a hole in my pocket. What do I do with it? I feel like I've answered it for you.
Yeah, he's really shaming you guys in donations. They're gonna be split with him anyways.
I mean, the shame. If you feel shame, that's kind of telling of the situation. That's not really my fault. Like if you don't feel guilt, then that means that you're completely fine. But if you do, then that means you've done something wrong, and very likely that is not donating to Zombie Grub for Home Story Cup drinks.
Poor Darkspawn isn't in on the lulls. He can't have any happy times.
Oh,
someone's a little cranky.
It's like, I don't like jokes. I don't like jokes. I had fun once and it was terrible.
Also, we can't do anything that don't have to replace, so just calm your
Yeah, we're
tits
waiting
there.
for replays. We actually do want to cast StarCraft. That's actually what we're here for, as much as we'd like to hang out.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that In Control goes, because I know sometimes, he's got, it's literally on Thanksgiving for Americans, so there's always that issue. But
Yeah. He's very much a family guy, too.
I have yet to go to a Home Story Cup with In Control. I think the one that I went to,
Me
he also
too.
wasn't there. So.
Yeah, same.
I was like, 3 years ago.
I felt like I was with Roddy, who can be funny, and I was with Todd, who, is Todd. So I felt like I had to be the funny guy at that event, which was a little bit of pressure. I'm like, oh, God. In Control's shoes are really big to fill. Literally. He's a big guy. So, but also, trying to be the funny, fun guy at an event like that.
Yeah. He apparently wants to see me at Home Story Cup. So that's the weird part for this year.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Thank you, Ricky D, for that 20-month resub.
Nice. Still waiting on those $100,000.
Any moment now, though.
Any moment.
Yeah.
I won't hold my breath.
Oh, here we go. Well, we don't have $100,000, but we do have the replays.
I'll take it. It's a good consolation prize, to be honest.
Okay, now I gotta hop on over to NA. It might be dangerous. It was sent from my good friend Olimo, so I don't think it is dangerous. gonna keep those.
Windows is like, this person could be sending you porn.
I mean, thanks. As long as it's not virus-filled porn.
And it's like, yeah, that probably means that they got my back and they know what I like. Like, get off me for my habits, Windows.
Ew.
Always sticking their nose in where they don't belong. Damn Windows.
Oh, shame.
I actually haven't been able to start a stream without the Windows blue error sound coming through my countdown.
Ooh, that's
Every
really
single time
annoying.
I have my countdown, I always have an error of Windows ruining everyone's immersion.
Oof. Alrighty then.
I guess we should be in a party to make the replay viewing a little bit easier. Oh, I should not be the leader. You're the leader now.
Okay. I don't think it actually mattered, but
Doesn't it?
I don't know.
I thought for joint replay watching, you have to be in a party.
I mean, I could invite you to the lobby. That's not the difference. I don't know about party leader either being a difference maker. Whatever.
I don't know either.
It works.
Whatevs.
Yeah. Rude boy. Thank you for the 2-month resubby.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
You're the captain now.
I'm just gonna make sure that we're timed up a little bit with Crank, so excusez-moi.
Oh, is he lagging behind?
Well, I'm sure he's just waiting for us, or that's probably what he's waiting for because there's no other reason to wait. So I'm gonna wait until he starts the game.
Should we tell the chat which players we're going to have in this first game?
Oh yeah, that you could do. Yeah, you can actually do the first 4, in fact, as I send you the player list and the map list.
They have the playlist? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just let chat know. You know what? We'll leave you guys in anticipation for the rest, but the first game is going to be a TVT between Tasia and Alive.
Okay, yeah,
oh,
he's
man.
started.
I'm salivating.
Let's watch it. Let's watch this TVT go down on Cerulean Town, which actually...
Get down in Cerulean Town.
Yeah.
You got to get up to get down. So, let's do it.
Okay, good thing the... Oh my god, there's too many buttons to press, guys. It's a replay.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. But it is a best of 7, and luckily the timer did not show the spoilers, so...
Oh, my God. I have to... Oh, I can't go into full lazy mode. There's no zombie grub to lock onto.
I know. That's the worst part.
Oh,
I know.
This is terrible. I actually have to use my hands. Oh, my God. How 2011.
Yeah.
How gauche.
Go ahead and boost that a little bit. Okay, so we should be good to go. Looks like my audio settings are different, though, on this server, so... Yeah, let me know how the sounds are. Let's start this best of 7 team match in the top right. As the blue Terran, he is Tasia.
Recently re-picked up from Team Liquid. And in the bottom left here, excuse me, still representing Titan EX1, this is Alive.
Alrighty then. Yeah, so he's on Team Titan EX1. That's the name of the team for the Team League. And then group assignment is Tasia's team name. So we got some fun matches. We have Alive vs Tasia. Then we have another TVT, Bunny Fantasy, and then a ZVP, an Impact versus Parting. In the first 4 games of this Team League, so potentially all 4 games actually, are predetermined, with the 4th game being a 2v2, and then after that 2v2 we go into King of the Hill style with whoever is left / whoever was able to take games. So I'll explain more in case you only came to see this match and not the other one, I guess.
Well, in this match in particular, I would be saying as we watch the builds unfold, pretty standard builds for both players. They are going for the single gas opening, so fast expand variety. You can see these CCs go down on both sides of the map here for both players. Just to talk about the players in particular, I feel like Alive would be pretty heavily favored in this match, just because he really, has not been taking a break. He's been very, very active. But Tasia is recently returned, and I mean, by recently, he has been playing for a few months, or maybe 2 months or so. But he is, like, I saw his games from Super Tournament qualifiers. He's still looking a little bit shaky. He's not quite back at the Tasia that we all know and love, where he used to dominate the Dream Hacks or the WCSs and whatnot. So he's not quite there yet. But I do believe in his ability to get back up there again. Also looks like he's doing a 2-1-1.
Yes, you're right about that. He is. Whereas Alive is more usual going to a 1-1-1. So Tasia did have a really, really, really good TVT against Cure. That's who it was for their last match. and it was such an interesting TVT. Like, it was back and forth. One person was substantially ahead, then the other, then the other, then the other. And I want to say TJ even eventually took that game, but I could be wrong. He might have let it slip through his grasp. One of them let it slip through their fingers. But the point is, Cura is kind of one of the tippity top TVTers right now. I think he beats Alive pretty steadily nowadays, and he had a lot of trouble versus Tasia. So just throwing that in there, because while you're right, Tasia's still shaky, and he's still, overall less experienced with the meta and even the expansion, for goodness sakes. Like, I think he could definitely take on Alive.
All right. Well, TVT was a question mark for me for Tasia. Honestly, the Tasia games I saw were TVZs, and they were not very good. But TVT, hey, apparently, according to Zombie Grub, not too bad. Going toe-to-toe with Cure is definitely a pretty nice feather in your hat.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the good news for TVT is that the mid-game isn't so different. There you go.
I was going to say.
The mid-game isn't so different. Like, the early game is substantially different. Reaper Micro, Cyclones being a threat. But then, I mean, Banshees have always been around, and mech's generally the same if we do see a mech game, and certainly Stim Bio, now that we don't have Tankovax anymore, is something that Tasia is used to.
And that's, you brought up Banshees, and that's definitely something that's altering this 2-on-1 slightly, is that Tasia is getting the engineering bay a lot earlier than normal, because it's TVT, and if you don't get it, then you die. If they make Cloak Banshees, which is actually on the way here for Alive, by the way.
Oh, I just checked Tasia's vision, and he just scanned. So he sees that it's Banshees, and yeah, it's easy peasy, just double missile turret. Maybe a third one at the production if he really wanted to, but because it's easy peasy defense, Alive is now the one in a really uncomfortable position. The 2-on-1 is not a very often used opener, but if you can kind of like get away with it, then, I mean, you can do a substantial amount of damage, but then the start's not quite done, so Banshee does something here.
Yeah. And you might want to save that scan on the main as well aggressively if he wants his drop to do a lot of damage. It looks like there's going to be a Banshee popping out potentially defensively as well. Oh, no, he wants to use on this Banshee here. Still in detection range. Oh, he got that scan. He really didn't need it. Whoopsie daisies. He kills the Banshee, though.
Confirmed kill. But here's the, like, Ally does not have a lot of units. He's pre-pulling the SCVs, which is something he absolutely has to do. But Tasia didn't really have to push into this bunker. I'm surprised he chooses to do that. This is not an effective enough trade, although he does specifically target down the SCVs. That's just evening things out with the Banshees, which, and if he had dropped the main, there is so much more damage to be done.
I'm with you there. These Banshees of Alive aren't really being controlled that well. He didn't need to scan to finish that one off either, as both Banshees were inside the detection range of those turrets, and Tasia's getting rid of them. Alive is getting SCV damage done, though. He is still up in the worker count, but Tasia, with that earlier third base getting flopped down here in the natural, the power of that 2-1-1. I mean, you're right. He didn't trade very, very well, but I feel like both players have kind of floundered in their harassment, I guess. I don't know if you want to call a 2-on-1 attack up the natural harassment. That's kind of just an attack, but the Banshees haven't been amazing. That said, here comes another one.
Yeah, their builds really have not done what they're supposed to. The Banshee dies, and Alive, that should be your last Banshee. It's been lucky enough to be even, so just take that and stop.
Just let it go.
Yes.
We do have a fourth Banshee here from Alive. Maybe that's the one that's, fourth time's the charm? Question mark?
I don't know.
Tank here in the main for Alive, so I think Tasia might have to pick up here. Can't really get too...
Well...
Oh, hello.
Can he get out, though?
The answer is yes.
Oh,
the second one! Oh, nice.
Nicely
Very,
done.
very nice. Saves 2 medevacs, but not the one that mattered.
Yeah.
Good pick off there for Alive.
So now it's total workers killed in favor of Tasia. He's up 7 workers. His third C was done a little bit faster. Oh, no, it wasn't actually. Alive's done already with an orbital. His might be on location faster, though, because Alive is still in this very awkward spot. First he went Banshees, then he went for 4 Banshees. His stim is so damn late. Combat shield's still an issue as well, since he doesn't have double tech lab upgrades. I mean, he does not have a very nice mid-game, even though his army supply looks okay. He is entirely dependent on having his tanks in proper positions, and that's just really hard to do unless you have a sensor tower, which you're not going to be able to afford until you have that third CC on location.
And that's the big question mark here. You nailed it, is that he has that third, but how does he put it on location? Tasia can do it because he's got a very mobile army and he has plenty of speed on this army supply and plenty of it. Alive, these tanks need to be with his army at all times, or the upgraded and just straight up better bio of Tasia is going to mow through his army. These tanks are moving out, and there's that third attempt here from Alive. He does get actually a nice siege up location with Tasia not being able to punish it, taking a lot of damage on his Marines.
Yeah, but does get out of there. Now, his Banshee was seen, but I don't think it was actually seen, so a bit awkward. Gets 5 more SCV kills. I mean, it's 4th Banshee, that's where it suddenly does a lot of damage. But here comes a drop into the main. The tanks are still set up, though. That's, nope. That was a big old nope.
Yeah, poor Tasia took a very bad trade there. He's dropping right on top of a bunch of Marines. They didn't even need stim for that one.
Yeah. You know what's really sucky about that, too, is that if he had just, like... He had already... Like, Alive was taking what could have been bait. If he had just moved back to this third, he would have gotten a lift off, I think. Oh, well.
Nothing in the main here for Tasia. Alive doesn't have enough energy for a cloak, so he's just going to have to skirt around the edges here and be annoying. Looks like a supply depot might get picked off. But not super substantial damage. His Marines are out of range.
I mean, Alive has done a really... I mean, so much... He did a good job, but Tasia did kind of a poor job really using his advantage. Now we have Alive still with that supply lead with his third base down and his upgrades finishing. Now he's the one in control. But
he's got a massive tank count advantage.
Oh,
Tasia's stimming a little bit here. Oh, is this Maynard? Are we watching Maynard play TVT? That's what happens to me all the time. Stimming in a boot, grabbing Marines that just evaporate to the tanks of your opponent. Alive, pressing the issue here, smelling blood in the water, and he knows he's got a massive advantage with his army. Oh, Tasia's pulling the boys here to try and hold on. Let's see if it's enough.
This was still an awkward timing because Combat Shield wasn't done, but he had so many tanks, and oh my god, that tank shot just like instantly killed 15 SCVs. So while he cleans everything up, he's now down 14 workers. He was not able to stall up that third base, and Tasia is in a lot of trouble, even taking more SCV damage in the main, almost.
21 workers killed. I mean, obviously there was a massive worker advantage for Tasia before that attack, but now there's a pretty massive worker advantage for Alive. Alive ahead in pretty much every single regard, except for upgrades and slight army supply discrepancy. But we see that Alive is getting a faster second factory here. He's going to continue and at least attempt to maintain that tank advantage for the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, it is really worth noting that Alive, while he did a ton of economic damage, he did lose a long building army. Like, it took him a long time to get that many tanks. So it's like, it's definitely not over yet, but considering how he's been, I would say that he's been playing the better TVT. Tasia actually had the better position, but he actually misplayed it a few times, and that's just probably his inexperience showing. That's why I would be confident that Alive would take this lead and actually be able to go with it, unlike what Tasia's been able to do. Thank you, Dehumanizer, by the way, for the 32-month resub. Getting ya.
Thank you, man. All these Vikings just getting a tag there, but a Doom drop from Alive into the main of Tasia. 2 tanks in tow and a ton of Marines. 2-2 just finished for Tasia, so his Marines are better upgraded. 2-2 not done for Alive, but Tasia really does not have anything on location. He's going to lose some of his production here.
Ooh, that starports are being targeted down. Interesting choice.
All right, gets cleaned up.
Not bad.
Tasia is actually, you know, he's down quite a few workers here, but it's not the end of the world. He's definitely still alive.
Yeah, I mean, he's even able to afford a 4th, so not too far behind that of Alive's.
Alive going to try and drop the main again, hoping that Tasia feels complacent, but nope. Tasia's like, no. I still have everything in the main. Oops, yep. There we go.
Okay.
Alive needs to get out of there.
Well, he knows he got the starport, so it's not like 2 Vikings are about to pop and ruin his day, so he can just stay over there. The Marines of Tasia will scout the incoming attack, which is it's really important, because even with the center tower in a pretty damn good position for both players, really you don't want to ever let them get this high ground. If you see it with the center tower, it's probably already too late. They're going to get the high ground. But even though he saw it, he still doesn't circumvent the problematic spot, and oh yeah, he's still going to be in a bad position.
I still think that even though both players have had the same army for the most part in this game, I like Alive's army better as he's going into these Liberators, and he already has that Viking advantage. And this is such a nice spot. The Marines are out of range of these tanks. Has to rely on his own tanks to push them back. Alive gets a lot of good shots off on the Marine ball of Tasia there, but he has Marines in the main as well. Pushing back the drop attempt here from Alive.
I was watching Taja's vision, and he pushed in as his high ground vision was lost, but he does end up taking care of the tanks. That was the scariest part. The Doom drop was also quite scary, but a nice, like almost perfect on a Marines, because there's a couple weak medevacs there for Alive, and Tasia ends up holding. Now he's going to be at a disadvantage, even with his 3-3, but army supply is not looking too good for him. He will be on the defensive, but so far, so good on the holds.
Well, they come to the Liberators here, and his Vikings really can't push them back. There's so many more for Alive. A little bit in range of the Marines here. The Marines can pick off the Liberators. Whoopsie daisies. Alive getting a little fresh there.
Well, that's, I mean, okay, Alive's making some mistakes now. I mean, he was so smart to snipe the starport when he knew he was going to have that Viking control, and then to go into Liberator was absolutely the right call. But, oh, this big drop on top of the unprotected tanks. Gonna get 3 of them right off the bat.
Massive move here from Alive. Carpet bombing those tanks. He gets all of them.
Oh, God. Well, that could be game. That tank count was so substantial, and to let them all die like that, oh no.
Yeah, it certainly could be. 3-3 Marines from Tasia are fully upgraded, and they're trying to gun down, but without much medevac support, every stim is a big hit of damage to that army, and Tasia is on a whopping 1 tank, Zombie Grub.
Jeez.
That one by that third base at the front, that's it.
It's been a long time since I've seen such an effective drop on tanks. That was so good.
Yeah. Such a ballsy maneuver from Alive. Wish I had the balls to do stuff like that in TVT. I'm too afraid of doing stuff like that. And there's just so many Marines here from Alive. Alive's going to break Tasia's back here. That third is in big trouble. That single tank trying to get body blocked here from Tasia. Does an all right job of it, but Alive's certainly controlling this game. He's wearing the daddy pants. Up in the main. Very hurt medevac.
Oh, that was fun. So Tasia, now without a third, is going to scan and see that the fourth is done. He's not going to see a fifth is building, but he knows he's in a he's in a losing. This is going to be a loss for him. He's got nothing going for him. His tank count was reset, and he can't get his third base back.
He is warm, buttery toast. Very, very, very huge percentage chance of Alive winning this game at this point. He's just up in 50. He's up 50 army supply in a mirror matchup, which is already amazing. And he has this really dominant contain on Tasia, where taking the third, or retaking the third, I should say, is not really possible.
He's gonna try and break Alive, and this is probably the best time to do it before Alive's reinforcements got here. But he can't even break half the army. Here comes the other half. And now a sandwich is going to be prepared, and Tasia doesn't even see it incoming. He doesn't even see that second army. Okay, now he does.
Well, they're going to collapse on 2 sides here. He's going to make himself a Tasia sandwich.
Takes
the right side is actually getting a little soggy, though.
Yeah. It's too much mayo on that side. That almost didn't work. Oh my god, it's not going to work!
Oh my god! Tasia!
Oops.
He's got tiger blood. He won't give up. But my god, he is still, like, guys, even though Tasia's it was a really clutch hold in that planetary, and he did a great job cleaning up the tanks of Alive, he is still very dead. It's still looking horrible for him. It's hard to you know, say that after such an amazing hold, but it's just, I really don't see Alive losing this one.
Nah, he'd have to also be at least canceling the 5th base, which he's currently not doing. Alive's going into what is going to guarantee the win, which is just the Viking Liberators, but even more of them with triple starport, and this is definitely over. He's going to go after the 4th base again.
Planetary has 14 kills.
1922. I mean, it's a real hero here.
David Kim! All right, well, the planetary does finally go down. There's so many Marines left over. Will they be able to take out these tanks? The answer looks to be, would some carpet bomb help? Yes.
Tasia really does not want to give up, man. His activity is bullshit.
Screw this matchup, screw Alive. I hate TVT, and we're not friends anymore. That's what he's thinking.
Well, you know, I want to be like, you know, Tasia thinks it's bullshit now, but he's losing all this typical stuff he would lose to in Heart of the Swarm, Wings of Liberty too. Well, I guess boosted medevacs are different, so.
Hey, there were 2 Liberators earlier.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess you're right about that.
That he killed immediately. They were pretty consequential, but they were there.
Yeah. I don't think anything else has changed in this matchup.
No.
That we saw.
One
Cyclone caught his medevac. I guess he could also be mad at that.
Yeah, and bunker build is usually.
Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, you know, a 5-second bunker build.
5 seconds.
Yep.
Well, this orbital is not a planetary, and there's that GG. It was inevitable, but boy, did Tasia make him work for it.
Yes, yeah, and I really feel like Tasia had the better beginning. Alive really should have been scared, but that seems to highlight all of Tasia's problems coming back into a game. Like, you're like, you know, what are Tasia's faults right now? And it's like, well, that game. He makes some pretty poor decisions, doesn't maybe quite grasp the pacing, because one of the best things about Tasia back when he was dominant wasn't just his macro and micro, is that he always made the right decision and the right call to bring back games. That's also why he's not willing to leave them.
Yeah. It's also one of those games that really helps shut up those people that always say that 2-1-1's a bad build. Literally just saw 2 pro gamers use it against each other. And they are like, yes, Tasia is not the dominant player that he was compared to, you know, a lot of the dominant players in Korea, but I can assure you he is still an extremely huge threat in the Korean Grandmaster ladder. And this 2-on-1 certainly very viable if you use it well. You know, there's a few mistakes from Tasia. What if he dropped not on a bowl of Marines? What if he didn't drop on top of all of Alive's Marines before Stim was finished? Maybe it would have been better. Who knows?
Well, we're just gonna wait for Crank to start up the game once again, as we're getting into Fantasy versus Bunny.
Nice. Now, Fantasy is one of the old guard guys that's looking pretty good. It's taking him a little bit to get back into the swing of things, but he's had some really exciting games, specifically on this channel in some of the online tournaments.
Fantasy's, I mean, talk about Fantasy GG timings. Now it's literally the guy Fantasy who might give us one in this game, but
it is actually the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was really good at TVT and Brood War, which is a very different beast, but kind of like the sort of the core ideas are they transferred between. So I always thought Fantasy's TVT was good, even though he would still make game-ending mistakes. Like, Fantasy never had the supreme decision-making, I think, to be one of the best Terrians in the world. It was always like you got into a good position and then he'd do something really stupid. That's what I remember for him anyways. Or he tried different builds. He'd like want to be an innovator and he couldn't, as much as he tried, he'd never be able to innovate StarCraft 2. Those were his faults, I feel. So I don't know. I feel like TVT is again another like okay match for these old guards to take, but then I saw Tasia make a bunch of bad decisions and I'm like, I feel like Fantasy would do the exact same thing.
No, good analysis from ZG there. Hard to argue with. Let's get into Fracture, the shortest rush distance in the map pool. And the bottom right, the Wings of Liberty God, the man behind the meme of the GG timing. This is Fantasy.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, he is Bunny. You know, Fantasy's gotten better about his GG timing. I mean,
he has.
If you know him from Brood War, that was the height of his GG timing. I mean,
that
people,
was insane for that.
There's like these people that come into StarCraft, right? And they're like, why does my opponent leave before the game is done? And they have to explain to them and they go, oh, okay. And then there's people who come in or like who've always held this idea and I think they're just playing wrong. Where they're like, well, you really shouldn't leave until it's just, you lose your last building. Because like, what if there's a chance, right? And you're just like, dude, come on. Like, you're just, no, that's not, no. And they would be the only ones to ever defend Fantasy GG timings, I think, in Brood War. He literally would be, granted it was one base versus one base, but he'd literally be on only a command turn and a CVs and a vulture against like a perfectly normal like opponent, and he'd be like, nah, I got this. Micro can do everything, guys.
If anything, I think the guy with the late GG timings was probably Marine King Prime. It was like the guy that I used to get frustrated at in StarCraft 2 for just not leaving the game when he was super dead.
Yes.
Also, he'd only make command centers. He kind of played Terran like he played Zerg, like he only made SCVs and command centers.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if troll, but I'm going to bite. Celisar asks if this is Team Liquid Bunny or Korean Bunny. Team Liquid Bunny hasn't played the game in years, so Bunny is the Korean variety.
At least
You're
two.
welcome. At least two.
Also, this is a Korean team league, if you didn't figure that one out.
Yeah. Also that. There's a few clues out there.
Yeah, a few. Bunny's not even on Team Liquid. He's on Titan EX1. There's a few. Celisar's usually not a troll, though, so he's just probably well-meaning.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said not sure if, but I had the feeling like it needed to be answered just in case.
We do have both going for the same build. There is a very slight difference of how they took their gases, but they both took less gas than a 1-1-1. So, there you go.
Both going for the shoebox of death unit composition in the early stages of the game. Cyclone is like a lunchbox, shoebox thing. It's a box that shoots rockets really fast.
I understand. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. I understood that reference. All right, okay.
But yeah, it's a very, very, very safe opener for both players. They both even went for double Reaper. I mean, Fracture, as you said, has the shortest rush distance, so it's... I don't know about a tier X Reaper, because it's just like that's a bit too on the nose, but we're talking even like one person goes for reactored Cyclones on one base would also be deadly, because there's no ramp at your natural, so that's why they're also both controlling kind of the only ramp they can. Otherwise, you're just asking for them to easily micro against you, especially if they're going to go for a different build, because right now, they both have no idea what each other's doing. Their Reapers were purely defensive. They're both going to wait for that safe amount of units. Now we have a bit of a difference with Fantasy going into the reactored Cyclones, and Bunny will want to scout that, because he's going to have 2 less Cyclones eventually, and that will be a big difference.
Yeah, I want to see if he gets a tech lab on that factory after that last Cyclone. He does. All right, so there's a big window here for Fantasy. If he wants to be aggressive with these Cyclones, it could potentially do a fair bit of damage, as Bunny is switching gears into Marine Siege Tank, which is the better unit composition later, but in the early stages of the game, the Cyclone is king. We do have a Raven on the way for Bunny, which potentially could interference matrix 1 or 2 of them.
This could be a substantial anti-timing for Bunny. Like, you're so right. Like, the tank is already out, that's okay. The Raven's already out, that's okay. Maybe, but with them both not being out at all, and Fantasy going for, he's poking, he's prodding, he's wondering what's going on. He's gonna see, this is where that micro is so easy because there's no ramp like I was talking about. This is just a victory for Fantasy.
Yeah, that's, he lost one Cyclone immediately there, and he actually doesn't have a full wall off either, so if Fantasy, completely dominates this low ground and goes for the throat, he could potentially find a lot more damage here. The Raven is out and it has enough for an interference matrix on one of these Cyclones. He's gonna want to... The real name of the game here for Bunny is to try and get that tank out and put it in a spot where he can body block it and keep it alive. Nice body block, by the way, with those SCVs. Bit of damage from the high ground. Gets one of those Cyclones of Fantasies taken out.
Yeah. There's really like important high ground, low ground mechanics there. As Fantasy locked onto the Raven, did a substantial amount of damage, but then lost the high ground because of the Reaper. So... that was just, as I was saying, it was just a win, though, for Fantasy. Like, there wasn't much committal to that, because he wasn't like he was going pure Cyclone, which really starts to fall off as time goes on, as the tank pops out, as the Raven pops out. It was just like, I made 2, and I got a lead from it.
I feel like Bunny might be going mech here. He's got a really fast double gas being taken in his natural and the third. Oh, never mind. Switching over to the tech lab in the barracks. Going to get Stim. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then he got such fast double gas the natural. Okay.
Yeah. It's a very fast double gas. Feels like he might have a bit of a gas bank, but that's okay. What do I know? I'm only a poopy Terran player.
Yeah. Well. He is going to be going into a bit later of bio, though. Like, Fantasy, as I said, like, he didn't really commit a whole lot to that. If he had done no damage, and that's, maybe that's a problem, but he did damage. He had a faster stim. Now he's out of position for this drop, which is really great for Bunny, and it's a Cyclone included here, so it really complicates how you defend. This tank could be targeted down, for instance, but just gonna pick up and leave.
Meanwhile, in the main of Bunny, a Marine drop here from Fantasy to see what he can get done. He gets that tank, Stim's finished, so he's gonna try and bow through some of these SCVs, but doesn't really find many.
Wow.
Certainly not the same amount of damage that Bunny got done across the other side of the map. He got a tank, though. Actually, Fantasy's still losing some SCVs here in the natural.
Oh, well.
Auto turret harassment from that Raven.
Yeah, but Cyclones find the natural totally unguarded. If they're Hellions, all the SCVs are dead. But even so, 6 SCVs, maybe a few more as they are pulled into this. A single tank could actually be targeted down again. But the Cyclones trying to leave. Cancel on the command center, though. Wow, they were just dealing blow for blow.
Damn. That cancel's huge. Both players have actually taken incredible damage here. That really does suck. I feel like at the end of things, when the dust is settling, Bunny probably in the better spot, considering his third is an orbital and still alive. Fantasy does still have a decent-looking army, but obviously upgrades are a little bit quicker. Like you said, Bunny has that slower bio. But, yeah, that third CC is a big deal.
That is... yeah, it's a bit of a hard one to call, but yeah, you're right. Third CC is a really big deal. Bunny's going to have enough of an army to defend it as well, so there's no, well, probably there won't be a return, lift, or cancel, whatever you want to call it, on Bunny's third, which I feel is what Fantasy wants to try and do here, but he also might just try and Doom Drop. He leaves a tank at home, which is usually less than ideal, but does have a lot of A lot of Marines, still 2 tanks, and he's headed right towards that main.
One of the if this was my dropship, one of those Marines would have been cut from the team there for that siege tank, because I love dropping in a couple tanks. He's only got the one. No, he's actually got 2 in this drop. 2 tanks is pretty good. 3 tanks is better.
Oof.
That's a. I don't know about this drop actually. Tank in position in the mineral line. Double turrets. Oh god.
Oh no. I don't know. The tank does go down for Bunny, but his Marines are here to respond. They don't have combat shields, so they're getting absolutely massacred by the single tank left over of Fantasy, but there's just too much in the main, and while 9 SCVs went down, was that substantial enough? You're still behind on a 3rd base. Your drop can't really do much more.
You guys pay attention to that production tab. We've got 3 SCVs being produced at a time for the blue player, whereas only 2 are being produced at a time for the red player. Actually, as I say that, neither player is producing anything, but it is a situation where Bunny can certainly come back and economically, and also his army is getting swole. So Fantasy is going to want to try and hold on here and trade it well, as it looks like Bunny is pushing across through the middle of the map. You can potentially catch a group of Fantasy's armies. He's got some Marines sort of haphazardly separated from the pack here. All the tanks.
Yeah. Looked tempting for Fantasy as he saw tanks and then realized there's a lot of bio left over too. But now he's just out of position. He can't protect his own tanks, and Bunny could just lift and drop on top of this. He's gonna do exactly that, it looks like, with the tanks.
Might even interference matrix.
Okay. Didn't have to.
The Raven cutting these tanks out of the fight for a little while here. Still has another interference matrix, but he's taking his time on it. Looks like Fantasy has a force by the potential 3rd base location of Bunny as well to get into that natural and see what he can get done, but he's definitely got all his sights set on trying to hold off Bunny's advancement here on that 3rd base, which is taking damage slowly, surely, but from these siege tanks.
Yeah, as long as Fantasy's holding, he is on that higher SCV count and actually still mining more, despite having to repair a little bit. Some very important Vikings come out, and he was in position to go ahead and force another liftoff. It looks like Bunny knew about it, figured it out, and just sends that packing, but ultimately, it feels like Fantasy is getting the better end of this. That 3rd TC was so much earlier for Bunny, but it never went down location until just now.
I feel like Bunny's kind of messing up here. He hasn't made any SCVs in a really long time, and I've been looking at that production tab to try and see if he could come back on that worker count, but he hasn't been producing any workers.
I mean, it's got to be on purpose, especially since the 3rd TC is now officially down on location.
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so, but I do agree. I feel like if he had just been building it the entire time with the 3rd C in his main, it would be like a safe transfer of workers now. Well, his 3rd C still wouldn't be safe, I guess, so I guess I would be wrong about that, but Bunny finding an opening.
Bunny's gotten a sweet, chewy middle here at Fantasy's infrastructure. He's on that 3rd base. He's cutting through that tank count, and he's got his own tank count covering those Marines as well. No real way for Fantasy to reinforce his position. Both players are forcing to lift up their 3rds and losing a bunch of SCVs, but there's way more here for Bunny than there is for Fantasy on the other side of the map.
Yeah, well, now the SCV count is evened up, but the army count is just a disaster for Fantasy. He was cut right through the middle. The tank position was absolutely crucial, and he lost track of Bunny's army as he just went around and Mountain and Center Towers. Fantasy was doomed. GG.
Caught in a landslide. No escape from reality for that guy.
Yeah, not looking so good for team group assignment, as they're currently down 0-2.
The old guard having a bit of trouble with these new kids.
Damn kids.
Weird to call Alive new. Or call Bunny new, because they're super not new. But compared to these other guys, they're as fresh as daisies.
Yeah. There's not many new players, especially in Korea, unfortunately.
Yeah, the newer players are actually some kind of happening on the WCS side of things.
Yep. Even, like, literally young. Newer players, newer to this earth. There's, like, 16-year-olds, but...
New to existence.
But also, like, some of the players that we know for a little bit longer, or you look at them and they actually start playing at Heart of the Swarm. Whereas I think, like, every single Korean player we still have started at Wings of Liberty. They might have been on Kespa first, so they had that weird transition period, but they started at Wings of Liberty. I'm pretty sure, anyways.
I think you might be right. I'm trying to think. I'm like racking my brain trying to think of anyone that doesn't fit that description, and I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'd be right, but maybe...
When did Ragnarok start?
He was on Team SCV Life, I think.
Oh God, yeah, okay.
So
So he is super old school.
yeah. Oh, I thought of something really cool. Okay, and I'm gonna share it with you guys, even though it might seem a little like nerdy. Probably should have taken a break, but oh well. Like my mom's been doing these quilts for my brothers, where she takes all of their old shirts of like a part of their life. So, for instance, my eldest brother got a quilt made out of all of his fireman T-shirts, like all the fire stations he volunteered at, and like cool shirts that said he was a firefighter. And she made a quilt out of it, and he like really appreciates it, and it's like a part of his life and stuff. My other brother is getting a bunch of T-shirts of just like his favorite stuff. So there's like some Irish T-shirts and like some drinking T-shirts, some band T-shirts. He's really into go watching concerts. And so I was like, I don't really want one, Mom, because I think she asked me. But then I was like, man, I have so many StarCraft jerseys. You know, they're really T-shirts, and they literally just take up a hole in my dresser because I got so many. I wanted them. I asked for them. I never wear them, but I wanted them anyways. So I finally asked her if she could do a T-shirt quilt for me, and she said that she needs 15 T-shirts, but I think I could get them. And one of them is going to be Team SCV Life's T-shirt because I was on the Handsome Nerd back when it was first like made, like in 2010, 11 or whatever. They had the Team SCV Life T-shirt.
Nice.
So,
and is one of them going to be the Maynard caster tournament?
I mean, it could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to do something with all these T-shirts.
If you need 15, I'll take one for the team.
You have to add the 3-Artosis Moon T-shirt. Apparently, their Matcherino's taking a long time to send shirts, so I don't know if it'd be in time.
Oh boy!
But we have started the game. We should start the game.
Let's do it.
Yes, Parting versus Impacts. Pretty cool.
Nice. Parting with that Rifkin portrait.
Oh, that's a bad sign there. We all know that's bad luck, actually.
Yeah, that's, I'm pretty sure at the BTSL, everyone that equipped a Rifkin portrait lost.
Yeah.
So.
That's fact right there.
That is a fact. That is a fact for BTSL Vancouver. First season finals. Second season finals?
Second season, I believe.
Second season? Okay.
Yeah. We'll see if it impacts this game. In the top right, as that red Protoss, it is Parting. Impact.
Yeah, you did it. And then in the bottom left, this is the man in question. He actually won that tournament, BTSL Vancouver. This is Impact.
Impact's looking pretty good. Every now and again, he'll look really, really, really good. So I think he'll take this game. Sorry, but Parting, while he's always been around in these weird degrees, like he would come back and stream and then go back to Taiwan or whatever it was and not stream, he's been back in more solid ways, right? Streaming a ton, playing in some tournaments, some show matches, but he really isn't in the intent of getting to be the best. Like I think Tage and Fantasy kind of want to be. He's come back with the intent of being a really funny streamer, and while he's still good, that does leave a lot of weaknesses in his play that someone like Impact should be able to just take advantage of.
Yeah, and it looks like he's trying to debate a potential counter rush. Some Protosses will actually just drop a pylon down here and cancel it later to try and force a drone pull. Because Lost and Found is just so good for the counter rushes, although this is a Zerg, so it would be silly.
It's not the most useful thing for a Zerg. But like, yeah, you can always scare them. Maybe they pull 6 drones instead of 3. Parting does not do that, even though he's usually known as a trickster. He also has some old builds that he likes to throw out, but I don't know how much he's doing that nowadays. Someone who watches his stream will be able to tell me more. I think he's kind of more on the current meta train than he was 2 or 3 months ago, where he does like Archon drops and Stargate openers and not just Immortal Senshi all-ins that absolutely don't work anymore.
Oh, Morganoth says Season 1 of BTSL has no Terran, BTSL Season 2 has no Protoss. Huh, that's weird. I thought there were 2 French Protosses at that tournament. Crazy.
Yeah, are you talking
sure
about...
It was the grand final.
Wait, yeah, what are you talking about? Are we messing up the numbers really badly, or...?
Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty sure that Drogo and DNS were at the Season 2 final.
I'm gonna actually look this up.
And, you know, and DNS
and
being in the
Hero.
grand final against Impact, and, you know, Hero being there and shit, I think. That was actually a good number of Protosses.
Actually, no, he was. So we were wrong. It was season 1 that was the Vancouver Finals, and then season 2 is. So
yes,
I was.
there was no Terrans there. Can confirm.
Yeah.
Wardy was the Terran.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that we got that down, it's not even the BTSL. It's the QCL, which I have no idea what that means.
Quack. The crank? The ducklings? I don't know.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Quack TeamLeague.
But it's CL, so I don't know what team. I don't know.
Clan League.
Clan League? Okay, then you know what? Quack Clan League. That's kind of hard to say.
Quack Clan League. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, does it? Let's say that's the truth. Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's just stop talking about it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of confusing things about this game. Or this.
Oh yeah,
there's
super
the name.
interesting. Stargate opening. Double
game.
Stargate actually. That is kind of cool.
Yeah. It is cool. Impact's gonna want to, I mean, hopefully scout that, but he's already got. Oh, that's weird. Don't see pings very often. He's already got an evolution chamber on the way, so that tells me +1 melee, which tells me that he's got a chance to make this a good game for him. I mean, it's not like a hard counter as in, oh, I have +1 melee, I guess I win against double Stargate, but it's one of those things where you build 20 lings, they're not going to have enough of a defense around their third if they try and take it. So, but I've seen people not make those 20 lings, kind of like assume that they're not going to get it anyways, and then just like let the Phoenix control them and roll over them. Like, actually, Raynor is kind of a good example of that. Raynor, for some reason, despite being a very well-known ling player, will not do the best against double Stargates. He's had weaknesses against that.
Yeah, it's weird, huh? I mean, even the God King himself, Cyril, has dropped a few maps double Stargate. Famously, I remember Mana doing a pretty good job with it. And Cyril just going, oh, well, I like to make roaches and try and kill you before double Stargate sort of snowballs out of control, which is a good option sometimes for Zerg, but can sometimes make you fall flat on your face, depending on when you hit.
Yeah. So, Impact does not know about this yet. I don't want to reveal the double Stargate off the bat. He might figure things out once he sees enough Phoenix, but also maybe if he sees no more like Warpins type deal, but there's nothing better than just seeing it with an Overlords, and he's not going to be able to do that. So he does have enough lings coming through, and with that +1 and 16 more lings on the way, he will absolutely be able to take down that Nexus. So that's his current plan. That I feel like is going to work especially well, because the Phoenix can't lift every one of these up. They are now going to reveal themselves, and I think Impact's going to be fine with that. He's going to be like, oh, okay, cool, nice. I'm going to take your third and maybe even a game if he does this right.
Yeah, these Banelings are going to be a spot of bother here for parting. No sentries, no force fields. He's just getting some sentries now on that natural wall. A third is still a bit of a juicy target. All these Phoenixes are actually on the other side of the map here looking for drone lifts. There's double Spore Crawler in the mineral line, though.
These Phoenix need to be back kind of helping, I think. Oh my god. This one probe is so sick.
Oh my god. Wow. Parting's just going to give up this third Nexus here, and that probe, funnily enough, did body block those Banelings from getting to the gateway units there, and they recalled and survived here in the natural, at least for now.
Those splits come down. Oracle's very helpful, despite not knowing about this. Parting does a surprisingly good job. I mean, the canceled Nexus was almost a given with how much Impact put into this, so I wouldn't even say that was I wouldn't say that was actually what Impact wanted. He was looking for like the army kill as well, or half a decent amount of probes, and he just doesn't do it. And while the Phoenix had not done any damage either, it's not like he lost like 20 drones focusing on this. They will control the map from here on out. So I don't know. Party seems to be in kind of a good position.
Actually, I agree with you there. He's looking all right. Like, yeah, he's down a fair bit in workers, but he's gonna have the tech that could certainly be a massive danger here for Impact if he goes into like Colossi production here. Gonna be very, very nice against these Lings and Hydras. And we can see that is on the way here for Impact. The Phoenix is once again going on the side of the map. They're going to pick up a Queen and pick her up very, very easily, even with transfusions.
Yeah. Surprised he even tried. Oh, jeez. Oh, lordy. Those Banelings almost connected. Oh, boy. I guess there's one thing you depend on Parting being good at. It is force fields. That hasn't been lost. Yeah.
That force field micro of Parting is still pretty fresh from his Soul Train days. Ooh, a lot of Queens catching some Phoenixes here.
Yeah.
Down at Impact's creep. Another attempt on the third Nexus. Parting with a little bit less juice on those sentries. He's just going to warp in some zealots. Just starts charge now. I feel like there's a little bit late to the party, but it is on the way.
The Colossus is going to be that interesting kind of, I want to say a parting twist. He's not the only person I've seen go Colossus against this type of army in this type of situation, but it's like, it's not the most common thing to do. And we do have Impact, I guess, responding to that, but going for a Spire. Now, once again, Banelings rolling, but the exact wrong time. Almost got the Banelings. Almost got the probes.
Now let's take one to the face.
Yeah, no. Show battery gets smacked by the Colossus for not doing its job, I guess. Yeah, so Colossus is going to be great against this, especially in the positions that are currently being given to parting. Like, entirely defensive, always in the right spot. And then we have Storms also on the way, potentially. Wait, how? Why?
Suddenly, a million probes just died at the third base. 2 Banelings. They actually did connect with a lot of probes there.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Colossus is also found by a bunch of Lings, and it's just not good in that position. Oh, okay.
That's not something you see every day. Colossus getting killed by a group of Zerglings.
Well, things have really turned around here. I don't even know. I don't think I liked Parting's push out, even if there was a second Colossus, even if he didn't take probe damage. This is just really dangerous, and it's not like he doesn't have that many force builds. He still only has 4 sentries. He realized it's a mistake as well. Recalls, but loses, I mean, a couple Phoenix, a couple Zealots. It's not the worst, but takes more probe damage. Plus 2 is down on those Banelings. Oh my god, 19 probes.
Yeah, he was down 20-odd workers, now he's down 30-odd workers, which is not a good time here for the Protoss. More Banelings rolling in for Impact. Oh, gets some High Templar nearly, but the Prism Micro there from Parting to keep them alive.
Oracle goes down, no more Revelations. Only a single Observer to see where the army's coming from, and this feels like, I don't want to say Parting was in a substantial lead, but I felt like he did a very good job against what he was up against for the first 7.5 minutes of this game, and then he just made some really... Well, some bad micro, sure, okay, the Banelings and the Colossus thing, but I just don't know about that push out. I don't know. He must have thought he was in a better position than he was. I guess that's what it comes down to. He was like, oh, I defended everything, I guess I'm good, and that absolutely was not the case.
Yeah, he's trying to delay for Storm here, which is only 3/4 of the way done. Some Storms could change the tide of this battle, but Parting is certainly in control here. Up 30-odd army supply. His work account does not need looking at anymore. A little bit behind on the upgrades of the ranged variety, but his melee is looking strong. Those Banelings are going to be hitting pretty damn hard.
That's a lot of Storms. This is actually a very splash-oriented army, something that's very good against Impact's army, but he doesn't have enough of it. I mean, even with all those Storms, the Colossus beams firing away, it's still not enough.
Yeah, Impact's got overwhelming army supply here, and there's Colossi tucked away in the corner trying to hold on, but that is not enough. Impact overwhelms Parting's defense and gets the victory there. Chucking the old boys club on one map to stay alive. They are actually on match point right now.
Yeah, and their match point is going to be a 2v2 played out, so that's always a little bit weird. We're going to take this opportunity to go for a 2-minute break, actually, so that might put us a bit behind on Crank's stream, but we haven't taken one in a while. So, guys, are going to be right back, and then we're going to get into a 2v2 potential final game. We're jumping right into the game because we can start whenever we want. It's a potential last match of the series. Tasia and Parting versus Alive and Impact. Who's going to be able to take it? It is a 2v2. And let's get the sound on the bottom right. As the blue Terran, it's Tasia and his partner Parting. It's a teal Protoss on team Group Assignment.
Mm-hmm. And on the team, Titan EX1. It's a couple Titan EX1 players. We've got, in the top left, the purple Terran. Looking fly there. It is Alive. And his Zerg opponent, Zerg friend, other, Comrade-in-Arms. In the top right here, this is Impact.
Yeah. And, yeah, this team in the top left is up 3-0. So if they win this, then the Team League is over. It hasn't happened yet. But I'm assuming there's no weird rule that stops it. It's just a 4-0 first to 4. That's how best of sevens work, and that's what might just be happening. I would like to think Parting's weirdness would play well into 2v2s. Like maybe he plays more 2v2s because he's a streamer and all that. But we haven't seen that yet. The Protoss players undergo Stargate, and that's kind of the extent of their 2v2 extreme dynamics. Otherwise, it's been, you play kind of your normal 1v1s, maybe there's some strategy, and I guess I should note that the last time Impact played a 2v2, he was yelled at by his teammate. There was some not teammate cohesion going on, and he did lose, but I think he was playing with the other guy in his team, not Alive. So.
Yeah, I feel like Alive might be less yelly. Tasia went CC first, by the way.
Gotta
Pretty
be
sick.
bold, I guess. It's a very long map, so even if there was a one base build coming out from their opponents, he might have been able to get away with it.
Yeah. This is actually I've been having a cheeky look at this map here as someone that's been playing a fair few team games lately. I quite like the layout of this map. I like it a fair bit. I like how the naturals are still high ground, and you have that potential like third to the south end side if you're in the top left. But it looks like someone on the team needs to take one for the team and get a low ground third, while the other one gets the high ground third.
Yeah.
Ooh. You'll have to feel generous if you want to give that one away.
I also have a Terran Zerg team versus a Terran Protoss team, which, again, not substantial differences, but I do kind of like the Terran Protoss team better than the Terran Zerg.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a correct call last time we had these two teams match up.
It looks like Parting, even though he's got double gate with Adept here, it could potentially go into Stargates, which is just so strong in team games. I feel like Phoenixes are just so good in team games at all levels.
Yeah.
You can control them well. And obviously with the Adept opening, even though it's 2-gate, it is much less gas. Well, half the gas are going Stalkers, so you can afford things like, a robotics facility earlier or a Stargate, depending on what you wanted to go for. Stargate's a 150 gas, Robo's a 100, so Stargate's usually the pick. Usually.
I think Stargate has to be what the Protoss goes for. If you're playing against people that are not as skilled as you are on a random ladder, or you're playing 4v4s. No, actually, I think you still go Stargates at 4v4s actually. But unless you're playing weird, so if I ever play with you guys and I don't go Stargate as a Protoss, you could yell at me, but we're also playing not for serious. If you're playing for serious, you got to go Stargate.
It's really reals.
It's just really way too effective. We're not 2v2 or team game pros. Those don't really exist, but it's been proven amongst all the expansions, amongst all the times that BaseTradeTV does put on team tournaments, that Stargate's the way to go. So Parting not going for a Stargate actually makes me worried, and it's like, it's not like the Protoss army is otherwise bad. It's just that I think Stargate is better.
Yeah, he's looking to just get a Prism out by the looks of things and go heavy on Adepts, perhaps. Oh, no, never mind. Templar Archives going down here. For Parting's build is freaking me out a little bit. Tasia's looks a lot more standard. So the 3 racks for the factory finishing up. 3 racks is definitely not uncommon. CC first is a little uncommon, but he's getting away with it. Neither players really attack each other until at this point it's Parting trying to shave into that queen count of Impact, but Impact is fighting back well enough.
I'm gonna start listing off reasons why Stargate's good, and one of them is, you know, deflecting medevac drops, which is something that Tasia, I mean, you could put up missile turret rings eventually. You could start putting marines around, or observers could help out eventually. It's not actually maybe to take care of the medevacs. Adepts do run into the natural, but don't decide to shade in.
I think that Harding's going to lose all of his probes in about a second here.
Yes, and I don't know if their attacks can do the damage. Impact does have banelings on the way. They don't have surgical hooks, though, so could be questionable, but a recall of the Adepts, so leaving Tasia's Marines to do the damage. They do find the banelings, but maybe not in time. Not in time. Run!
Yeah. Oops. I mean, Tasia's trying to split his little heart out here, but unfortunately, it's just too many banelings.
Yeah,
the drop reinforcements here pushing around those Marines. The drop gets deflected, depowers the robotics facility, and kills a bunch of probes, knocking Planting down to 34. Certainly has the worst economy of all 4 players here, with Impact and 50. Impact with the best work account at the moment. 3 bases saturated. Like, Impact's economy is looking quite tidy, and he's going for lots of Ling and Bane, just getting his lair now. So obviously that's a late lair, but it don't matter. A lot of Zergs are just going very heavy Ling Bane in the current meta, and also 2v2 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big weaknesses is perhaps detection. Well, you have a partner for that, and then another one is you know, maybe those later upgrades. But if you're getting a really good economy, and his economy is okay, so it's give and take, then again, your partner could kind of hold on to the defense until you have gingival hooks, until you have mutas. If you even want to go into mutas, Alive's doing something really weird, and I don't know why, but he's going into, well, actually, I guess he's just responding to the Archons and the High Templars that he figures are on the way, and that's not a bad idea, but it is off of 2 bases, so it's just faster than you'd usually see.
Yeah, unless he starts a nuke immediately, in which case he's styling.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, there's 2 attacks going on, but going up the ramp against Storm is not working out for our Zerg Terran team. Hatchie's gonna go down here, it looks like. Banelings.
His Banelings are still alive, and that's all they need to be up until they connect. That's a nice storm there, getting rid of those last few Banelings. The tank's really doing a great job for Tasia. And speaking of Tasia, he killed Impact's 3rd base with a drop ship of Marines. Double drops of Marines.
Ooh, this is not working out well for Alive and Impact, man. It's not working out at all. They actually lost the high ground, too, so the tanks are missing a couple of shots. They get 1, and that's it. Alive goes for a drop in the main, as well as the natural, though, so some denied mining time, and all Tasia got was the hatchery, actually in a couple of drone kills, but he is forced to back off.
Alive's going to pick off +1 armor here, gets an engineering bay, denying an upgrade there for Tasia. It's a nice little thing to do, but obviously I think Impact and Alive's team took a little bit more damage there in that trade, considering his hatchery also went down. Impact, though, double expanding to try and come back. A lot of Zergs do that in 1v1 as well.
This drop of Alive seriously did more damage than it should have.
Yeah, wow.
Supported by medevacs made a big difference, and Tasia just trickling in.
Kind of looks like Alive just has a much bigger army. So I'm just trying to find out where it is.
It's all on the ramp.
3rd base. Okay, on the ramp.
Yeah, Alive's currently carrying... I mean, well, Parting and Impact are kind of in similar bad scenarios. Like, Parting's actually in a worse scenario, less on the probes, but he has the stronger army. Storm, even though Baneling speed is finally on the way, I'd still say Storm is a little bit stronger. But they are kind of similar, and then Alive's just farther ahead.
You know how Prisms get loaded up with 4 High Templar? Alive's loaded up in Medevac with 4 Ghosts.
With his army? Yes, it is. So there are High Templars and a War Prism, so I gotta be paying attention to both drops here. Oh, he's gonna recall the War Prism. Okay. He sees the army on the way.
Don't be getting fed back now, Alive. Losing that Medevac would be very precious cargo.
Yeah, it's pretty high energy, too. Alright, he unloads. Just gonna look for the regular old Ghost EMPs then.
He does not have cloaks, so just gonna rely on using that energy straight up.
This is the only attack happening. Tasia has a drop now headed over to the base, but there are a lot of Lings and a couple of Banelings to defend.
Yeah, I don't know about this one for Tasia. And I think Tasia's like, nope. Maybe not. So this push here from Team Impact and Alive, Titan EX1 is looking all right. The Storm Energy of Parting is actually getting a little drained here. He only has a couple available on these High Templar. It looks like he has 3 Storms in total. And they're going to want to be pretty good.
He's looking for the EMP. Almost gets it.
Yeah, he hits one of the High Templar here. That one didn't have too much energy on it anyway. Alive breaking off 2 medevacs with 16 Marines to try and hit the main base of Parting during all this siege action.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here as both tanks are fighting away each other. Oh yeah, hey, he's got an overload drop.
Nice. Both players looking for that probe line. Oh, Parting actually very late to respond here.
Very late. I mean, he's still dealing with the front, I guess, so he's asking Tasia to take care of it. Tasia really... Oh, that was pretty sick.
He dropped it right on the Marines. The second one, unfortunately, didn't connect and finish all them off, but it would have been amazing there for Impact.
Parting's down to 15 workers. He's really... The best thing he has contributed to this team has been his storms, and he's still relying on that to try and help Tasia out, but Tasia's really been trying to be kind of a one-man team. I guess sort of the same thing for Alive Impact, but Impact double expanding, now on 5 bases total, has really made up for whatever damage took earlier on, and they're just looking too good. Yeah,
and Impact is literally only making Lings and Banes. I don't think he has any other tech structures. Nope, just tech.
Attacking into Tasia's kind of sneaky third, no longer sneaky, gets the production, gets the SCVs, almost got the High Templars too, but when the army moves over here, this suddenly becomes something that is breakable for Alive. In fact, if he had scanned, he could have seen, he could have done it. But the storms they're trying to bounce between 2 locations. It's almost working.
Well, these High Templar really the lifeline here, as ZG mentioned. The Immortals are quite nice as well, but getting in range of those tanks is a little bit of a tough ask here with that Ghost body blocking. Alive's got plenty of bio down here as well. 2-2 is also about to finish for Alive. Tasia somehow getting all the way up to +3 attack on the way. His Marines are going to trade very nicely here. Those are Marauders for Alive, which are never going to be good against Marines. Parting with a bit of a High Templar flank. Maybe you can catch these Marines of Tasia. Sorry, Alive, rather.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on, but Tasia's army was better than Alive's. Alive's kind of going for an anti-Protoss army, so when it came to that direct Marine fight, his Marauders did not really help out, and he's building a lot of Marauders, so he needs the help of Impact here. Impact on creep, but if the storms come down, there's not enough of them. Oh my god, the entire army of Tasia still got wiped out.
Also, Impact's broken off Lings where he's killing the base here of Tasia. A lot of SCVs dying. Also, Alive denied +3 attack for Tasia in the main base with another drop.
Oh wow, there's so much going on in this game, but it's all going really in favor of Alive Impact. We're already up 3-0. This is a loser's match, so if they win this game, that is it for Tasia's team.
The EMP hit all those medevacs, and it looks like Impact is starting to feel like this one might be theirs.
Yeah, a bit of a laugh going down in Allied chat. At least they're not being BM about it.
Yeah, keep your lolcake XDs to your teammate and yourself. No need to make the other guys feel bad. They're already on match point here.
Yeah. The team of the old guard is about to go down in this tournament.
It's looking like it.
Bad.
Too bad, so sad. But Impact and Alive, TeamLeague X1 in general has just been way too powerful on the day.
I guess, I mean, Parting, oh my god, look at Parting supply. He just can't do anything.
He's got 20 supply.
Yeah.
He's got 4 army supply. 16 probes.
Give me some gas, Tasia, like, so I can make High Templars at the very least.
Impact still having a bit of a chuckle.
Yeah.
So many baitings. He's just EMPing medevacs at this point, not even worried about the army of Parting, but, you know, what army? As ZG mentioned, not really a whole lot going on for Impact at the moment here. Tasia is trying to hold on to dear life, but Alive and Impact, you know, Alive's on 60 workers, Impact's on 71. There's the tap out. And Titan EX1 cleans the floor with group assignment there in the losers bracket, which eliminates them from the tournament, unfortunately.
It does, yeah. The rest of the games were all spoiler free because Olivia's great at this. So I didn't know that, but that's unfortunate. You know, everyone is really excited to see Tasia play again, and well, I mean, I feel like his TVT versus Cure was a stronger indication of what he could be. That TVT versus Alive was like a little bit too many bad decisions. I'm like, I don't know. They had a shot. They had a really strong shot, and I would have said this was the strongest team they could have had a shot against, and I was absolutely wrong. So I guess they really didn't have a shot. So they're the first ones out of the Team League. We still have a ton of other teams, though that was the first death of a team, and we still have what, 6 other teams? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other teams.
Beyond the Kids, Innovation One Man Show, Kim Do and Songho, and 94 Fam.
But that'll be for next week. So these are supposed to be on Friday, morning. That's usually when you can expect to see it, but you know, Krang's willing to accommodate basically. So we got moved to Monday. It's very last second notice. It's, you know, it's hard, you know, it's a Google Calendar in Korean, but the best way to find out when it's going to be is always looking on BaseTradeTV's schedule and following BaseTradeTV on Twitter as well as the channel, just in case they have a sudden pop-up stream. I think, tomorrow's definitely going to be the Alima League on this channel, and I'll be back for that with Rifkin, hopefully. He won't be sick anymore, but he's been sick for the last few days. So we'll see about that. And yeah, we will be ending the stream here, guys. No marbles. I see people asking. I can't do marbles. Sorry.
No marbles. Yeah, marbles is only installed on Riffle's computer.
Yep. But thank you, Nat Menon, for the 13-month resub, and anyone else who resubbed or subbed today. The bits, the donations that came in, although I couldn't quite catch them. Thank you to anyone who did it. Thank you to Maynard for joining in. I know you were kind of in a hurry, but I really appreciate you joining in for anything at all.
Yeah. It was a little touch and go there. I was glad that I got to catch any of the games of the first part of the cast, but we managed to at least do the full second round. So that's a game. Losers bracket game.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, you can do your shoutouts now as well. You gonna be streaming tonight, or?
Well, tonight is a a concept that might work out for you, but it actually is more like tomorrow morning for me, as it is tonight. Tonight is right now in Australia. So,
yeah.
I am going to say yes. I'm intending to. So if you guys want to drop around, I'm on Twitch TV /Maynard. I'm going to be probably laddering. I have a lot of subscriber replays still to do. So it's going to be ladder with a little bit of replay casting in between, depending on how frustrated I get, because the 1v1s have not been kind to me lately. Been getting my butt kicked a little bit.
I know
yeah. And if you like to get inside the mind of the man, I'm at MaynardSC2, where I tweet my thoughts, and usually they are pictures of my dog, and also I'm going live tweets. So if you enjoy stuff like that, then by all means follow and enjoy.
Nice. Should definitely check him out. I am Zombie Grub. You can catch me at ZG Gaming on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. You're both Zombie Grub. I'll be streaming today in like 6-ish hours, I think. A little bit later than normal. I mean,
always asleep.
Yeah, Mondays are always bad times for you to watch my stream, but it'll be like
you start at 4:30 in the morning.
Yes, yeah, it's unideal. It's gonna be co-op, maybe leveling a co-op commander, and then maybe some ladder, but it'll be a bit short of a stream because I did this today, and then tomorrow is gonna be Alima League, so very busy. But I'll be back on this channel tomorrow, as I said, and then that's kind of it. So thanks, guys, for watching. Please follow the channel, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.